Here we go again. Round two. Round two. Did I hear settlement? 2 settlements? The hotel settled 2? Come on in, baby. Oh, girl, talking.
Taking their head on Cassie. It looked like Cassie lost the whole jury. But guess what? Emily, the prosecutor, came.
She said round 2 went straight to
We've
Cassie.
also talked to expert witness on
Expert
abuse that is
witness. I'm not expert, trauma expert.
It was revealed that Cassie just also settled for
Fawn'N.
an additional $10 million. Cassie got 20 from Diddy and an additional $10 million that she is waiting for to check the crash. Y'all, we got to get into this because it is deep. I am so relieved. I got to be honest.
Baby, listen, she said
yesterday. However,
it was the grand finale. Is today her last day?
Painted Cassie out to be a liar. Make her seem like she was being manipulated.
She was vindicated. Shout out to
Make her seem
Tisa.
like, you know, she was trying to lure Diddy back in while having Alex on the side. But after what just happened in court, and you guys, I'm just thinking, I'm only going to be on there but maybe 10, 15 minutes, right? After just what happened, no, we can't do it anymore. Cassie is back. The case.
He know he ain't gonna win.
The case is on track, and Diddy's team was.
He just wanted to see her.
Looking silly.
They was looking silly.
Said, thank you forever for the hot tea. First, I want to give a shout out also to
the tea is hot.
Say what's up.
She went back in, baby. She said that when she went back in earlier from lunch, what she thought was going down wasn't, and they regrouped. And they,
so what actually happened? First of all,
y'all ready to listen?
The prosecution really thought they did something. They was trying to paint Alex and Cassie out to be broke jokes. They literally were like, so what's your husband do? He's like a personal trainer or something. Alex Fine, well, now he's an actor, but he is a professional trainer. So when there's like movie sets, TV sets, he is the trainer. That boy is at least making $500,000 a year. Now, is it the millions Diddy had? No, but you also don't have to literally act like you're going to see God while you're being urinated on in a pool full of baby oil, baby. And honestly, I don't know, somebody that make $500,000 a year that look like Alex or Diddy's demonic self, I don't know which one you keep. But anyway, they tried to play
I'm to keep the one that loves me for real.
They was like, oh, so after you got your settlement, there was no tour, right? Cassie said that's not the reason why.
Please come in hitting the like button.
But here is the way that
support
Cassie
the
was
platform.
Actually vindicated, okay? The prosecution jumped up on there, and they got straight to the point. Cassie, did you want to do the free calls? Because here's the thing. I know the blogs are picking up, oh my God, Cassie wanted to do the free call. Cassie even said, this was an 11-year relationship, and Diddy maybe has at most 5 or 6 text streams where she's not even saying she wants to do it. She's just like, well, I don't know. I'd rather do this. I'd rather do that, okay? And Diddy's team tried to run with that. They tried the babyfication, which I thought was really hard to prove, that a grown man double the age was just this drug addict, that when he blacked out, he ain't know what he was doing. However, you know enough to run $1 billion company. You know enough to orchestrate your free calls. You know enough to control everybody's life in your orbit and micromanage, but yet all of a sudden you a baby that's just like, we did crack. It's just not going to happen. Diddy, shut up, Diddy. It's just not going to happen. In any case, the prosecution got up there,
and what's her name?
Pointed out the fact that she did
Jaguar,
not she was under his control. And no matter how many messages that you have going on, it is called fawning. There was a domestic violence
put all her business out there.
In court, Sade. I'm going to try to have her on my channel. She actually introduced what fawning was. And this is the way the prosecution pretty much rehabbed Cassie's image. Now, before y'all go into this, I do want to say one thing. I'm in the courtroom. I see what it's going, and I also see
by people pleasing behavior to avoid conflict and maintain safety, often in the face
said she doesn't hate Diddy now,
of perceived danger or abusers.
Diddy texted her when she had her baby, and Cassie had been hard in therapy, and she's clean, unlike Diddy. It's so funny, everybody's trying to say that Cassie was the one that got Diddy strung out. When Cassie's clean, Diddy, they just found a bottle of Tucci laying on your dresser, and God
What
knows
is
what else you
Tucci?
are making like the roach and rat hairs in your gel out to be.
What's a bottle of
Let's actually be real,
Tucci?
Diddy. Again,
Ain't that a violation?
The defense trying to act like she loved them. She loved them. That's not what it is. We're going to hear from the expert in a second, and I think Sade is going to be so kind and come on the channel. But they literally tried to play it like Cassie was
What
the
is
problem.
Tucci?
When at the end of the day, Cassie moved on. She got a man that loves her. Who was still in Cassie's situation? Gina. Who's still high on Tucci and whatever else? Diddy, who still is in the throes of all his demons and using as an excuse. Diddy. I did think it was disgusting that the defense is playing into old misogyny, saying that they were just two young kids, wild, free. No, there was a kid, and then there was somebody old enough to be the kid's father. But you know what? We'll talk about that in a second, okay? Again, let's talk about that lawsuit. Girl, Douglas Wooddoor, Tyrone Blackburn, Esquire, they know how to get to the money, honey. So if you guys don't know, Cassie actually got 10 million, 20 million from Diddy, right? There was an extra $10 million settlement, baby. The prosecution was like, the prosecution
that's the
was like,
pink
objection,
stuff.
Your Honor, objection, Your Honor, objection, Your Honor. Donna, thank you so much for the super chat. Wanda J 1970 said, thank you for all the updates. You
So he's still getting Tucci in prison, Lord.
Themselves once again. They did. Mary Mack said, you're doing your thing, lady. I appreciate you. Also, C. Hubbard, thank you so much for the super chat. And who else? Hold on, this one more super chat. Francesca, thank you so much for the super chat. Okay, so listen, the defense did embarrass themselves because I want to make one thing clear, okay? If you don't know anything about the law, if you don't know anything about sex trafficking, if you don't know anything about what's going to happen, then it would be very, very easy to believe that, and I'm live from the courthouse, it would be very, very easy to believe that they did their big one yesterday, and they definitely did this big one today. I'm not going to lie, they had Cassie looking a little bit silly after it. But again, the prosecution came in, right? Again, Diddy's PR team, who was sitting right in court having lunch with TMZ. Hold on, here's a doggy. Hey, Adeline Joseph. Welcome to Super Chat. The doggies
They
are
call
here.
it happy
Anyway,
water.
right? Diddy's PR people.
Oh, that's
was
that
seen
liquid,
In the cafeteria exclusion with TMZ, Shade Room producers, who else? Breakfast Club producers, that whole gamut, right? Baby, this is literally like a high school reunion. You see that it has been plastered all over the media. Cassie says she does not hate Diddy. I have love for the past and for what it was. Again, the fact that they are trying to mobilize somebody healing and being able to not lead with hate. Hate will make you ugly. Hate will suck you dry. Hate will have you looking like Diddy, literally looking mad, sad, scared, surprised all at the same time at the defense table, right? Again, they also said Cassie was hurt threatening an escort. That was Jonathan Addl. Cassie was hurt threatening Jonathan Addl for a suspected S-tape in court, saying, if you don't show me, I will bleeping kill you. That sex escort is Jonathan Addl. However, the thing is, and Cassie literally was confronting, the thing is, Cassie said that she got recorded without her permission. But when the true story came out, and then the prosecution was like, and he said he was going to leak it to the world. And Cassie was like, I'm not sure about that. Jonathan Addl actually said in his interrogation video, he said this a long time ago, that he did have a tape, but he made it when Cassie actually passed out because Diddy was shoveling her with drugs. Cassie actually passed out. And Jonathan Addl was afraid Diddy was going to pin him with a body. So he taped it. He secretly taped all their interactions then and after that. To make sure that nobody could pin anything on him. Again, Diddy was always into dark stuff. And how is it that Cassie was the one who was supposed to be leading Diddy astray, but Diddy was always the one never passed out? Cassie was always the one blacked out, passed out, sores in the mouth, UTIs, and God knows whatever else. Anyway, Shannon Walter says, I love being a tattletale. What was his attitude today? And his family, were they smug or pissed? Thanks, Tisa. And also, Jacqueline Canary Park said, you're so good. Better take the podcast. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that so much. So listen, I'm not going to lie to you. before the break, so I did a live where I was like, yo, Cassie just got called up. This isn't good, right? Christy Love, new subscriber. Thank you. Thank you so much, Christy, for gifting all the creators that are covering this. And there's a lot, girl. I hope you got your piggy bank ready. Also, Terry Thomas said, you do such a good job. Keep it moving, girl. Okay, so listen. After the break, before the break, when I said Cassie got caught up, I was feeling somber. I was like, listen, and I said it on my live last time. I believe Cassie, but I think they need the expert witness in to come in too sweet to actually explain what's going on, because some things aren't adding up. And for people that either are not familiar with trauma, and if you're not, count your blessings, or for people that just want to act ignorant, they're going to look for that end. And I knew it was going to be a bloodbath. And I came out, and within 5 minutes, it was all over all the blogs. It's funny to me in the blogs that whenever Diddy get his butt handed to him, nobody got anything to say. But for some reason, and when I say blogs, I'm talking about mainstream media also. But whenever Diddy hasn't even the slightest win, it's all over the headlines. I believe they are paying for those posts, but that's just my permission. That's just my thinking. Thanks. That's just my opinion. But here's the thing, you guys, okay? When Cassie got caught up or tripped up a little bit, everybody was smug. Baby oil bandits were up. They was taking notes. They was doing their thing. Diddy was sitting there looking like, yeah, I got you. He was so smug. And Cassie was very flustered. But I see it now after talking to the expert witness, the expert on DB, why Cassie was so flustered. Because she knows the way it plays out. Because she knows, let me tell you something, and I'm just going to say it. I'm going to say it, girl. Do you know what I think was the biggest issue with this trial is, and what was Cassie's biggest thing? And I was talking to Sade. She works directly with victims like this, and she had a good point. Let me read it to y'all. She said that she thinks the biggest obstacle is the way the women on the jury look. Hear me out. She says the biggest obstacle is the way the women on the jury look. And, of course, the men, right? You know, it goes on to say that when you look at Cassie, a lot of people looked at her as goals. She looked like she had everything. Beautiful face, beautiful body. She had fame. She had a famous boyfriend. She married a super handsome husband. And that's why this case was so shocking. Because when we found out what she had to do for that fame, we were gagged, we were shocked, and we were appalled. The domestic violence counselor said, Cassie's biggest thing. Oh, thank you, the big picture, Melvin Sire Jr. said the great job on the updates, Bright Eyes. Thank you. Also, Bossed Up Bianca, thank you so much for the super chat. Dana T, thank you for joining the Title Talks family. Also, Minnie Freed, you're amazing at providing the facts with intelligence and humor. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Also, CC's 2 cents said, seems like Diddy took a parental role with Cassie, starting when she was 19, leading to a complex dynamic of control and approval seeking. I'm a content creator too. Thanks for your hard work. CC 2 cents, y'all. Go ahead and follow CC 2 cents. Listen up for everybody to eat on these YouTube streets. Go support her. Nobody, thank you for joining the family. And it's all a dream. Said, God bless you, Tisa. You've been keeping me informed, empowered, and laughing all week. Great coverage. Okay, so Cassie got 30 million total. She has
she got an extra
from the Intercontinental,
10 million,
but she got 30
from
million
the hotel.
Total. Ebony BGDD said, thanks for all the hard work. You're amazing. And Ann FJ311 said, thank you for being our eyes and ears. Okay, so listen. Thank you all. So let me explain this really thing. The domestic violence person was like, yo, it's called fawning. It is called fawning. Now, what is fawning? Let me get back to the point about the jury. There is not one person on the jury, and they're pretty, but there's not one person on the jury that is an ex-model, is an ex-actress, that is a singer, and there's not anybody that is drop-dead gorgeous and very, very attractive. And this has nothing to do with putting anybody down, because they're pretty. But here's the thing. Unless you see, as an uber attractive woman, the issues you deal with, the way you're preyed on, the way men treat you, you really don't even understand. Now, some people will be like, oh my God, but it's from the outside looking in. Because you think because somebody's uber attractive, they got everything handed to them, instead of realizing that they are literally, especially when you're young, you're literally sitting there like a deer in the woods waiting for the lions or antelope, whatever, pounce on you. Again, the same way a man will say that somebody just working a 9-to-5 does not understand the type of issues you deal with when you are a multimillionaire and the type of things you have to deal with. I feel like a lot of people, men and women on that jury, are not going to understand understand what Cassie was going through unless they actually lived that life and that lifestyle. You see what I'm saying? So that is already something that Cassie was dealing with. But then there's also something called fawning, right? And this is the biggest thing that they need to, okay? This is the... Hi. Oh, okay. This is the biggest thing that they actually, like, looked into, right? What is fawning? Fawning is common, especially in trauma responses. Fawning. Fawning is common in trauma and responses in psychological terms. I took some notes. Hold on. Fawning is a trauma response where someone tries to appease, please, and overly accommodate others, especially people they perceive as threatening, in order to avoid conflict, abuse, or rejection. It's one of the 4 common trauma responses: fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Okay? Fight. How it connects to victims, right? If someone is a victim, they over apologize to avoid more backlash. They change their views or actions just to please others. They're being overly agreeable to stay safe and regain control, and they're suppressing their real thoughts or personality. It's a survival strategy rooted in fear. Okay?
Y'all hear that?
Often unconscious, but when extreme abuse, it is a first tactic survival fear, and it's especially common in people who grew up around unpredictable or abusive authority figures. Cassie was fawning. Even when Diddy texted her, "Do you want to do a freak off?" and she would be like, "I would love to do one," because she knew when she denied him, he would go in on her. So she would say, "I would love to do one, but I have something tomorrow." And let me tell y'all something. I think every man or woman around knows when you read Cassie's text, because when you read them, it sounds like
Y'all
someone
hear
that
that?
doesn't want to do it, but they're still trying
So
to
her
appease
acting like
someone,
she wants
so they
it.
say something sound. Now listen, you can believe in fawning,
It's-
you can believe in not fawning.
It's
I'm
mental.
not really going to get into that. Kimberly
Fawning.
Norman, I do want to thank
Trauma.
a few members, right? Oh my God, all these super
Y'all
chats are
remember
leaving my
earlier
screen.
today
Hold on,
I
Kimberly
said that, you know, sometimes you can tell people your past or things that done happened in your house, or could have been a abuse with her parents, you know, and she trusts her dude with that information and they use it against you. Didn't I say something about that earlier? Yeah. So obviously, so you know, there may have been some type of abuse, or it was because she was a kid when he got a hold of her. Yeah. Yeah, I tried to tell y'all. Let me hear that again. It's trauma. At that point, she didn't know how to get out. Nobody had gave her an exit, or a real exit where she felt like she could get out without any more abuse.
What is fawning? Fawning is common, especially in trauma responses.
Trauma responses.
Fawning is common in trauma and responses in psychological terms. I took some notes. Hold on. Fawning is a trauma response
That's right,
where
yeah.
someone tries to appease, please, and overly accommodate others, especially people they perceive as threatening, in order to
Threatening.
avoid conflict.
So, because earlier I said I kind of wish that she would have continued to fight back, and at some point she felt like she couldn't do that no more. I guess the beatings were so intense until she just knew at that point it didn't do her no good to fight back. So even when she tried to give soft answers or worded a different way, it still wasn't what he wanted to hear, you know, so it was still rejected or dismissed. Because when she said, "Oh, I'm ovulating," you know, and then he was like, "Well, what about kissing?" "Oh, okay, yeah, we can do that." You know, she was trying to find a nice, polite way to say, "I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Ain't what I want to do." Like, can you just hold me, cuddle? I just wanna be with you. Just me and you. Why we can't freaky? I mean, when is this gonna end? And the reality of it is, at some point, she understood it wasn't gonna end, baby. Or it wasn't gonna end with her being alive.
Abuse or rejection. It's one of the 4 common trauma responses: fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Okay? Fight. How it connects to victims, right? If someone is a victim, they over apologize to avoid more backlash. They change their views or actions just to please others. They're being overly agreeable to stay safe and regain control, and they're suppressing their real thoughts or personality. It's a survival strategy rooted in fear, okay? Often unconscious, but when extreme abuse, it is a first tactic survival fear, and it's especially common in people who grew up around unpredictable or abusive authority figures. Cassie was fawning. Even when Diddy texted her, "Do you want to do a freak off?" And she would be like, "I would love to do one," because she knew when she denied him, he would go in on her. So she would say, "I would love to do one, but I have something tomorrow." And let me tell y'all something. I think every man or woman around knows when you read Cassie's texts, because when you read them, it sounds like someone that doesn't want to do it, but they're still trying to appease someone so they say something sound. Now listen, you can believe in fawning, you can believe in not fawning. I'm not really going to get into that. Kim Marie Norman, I do want to thank a few members, right? Oh my God, all these super chats are leaving my screen. Hold on. Kim Marie Norman said, "Nessa, thank you so much for the super chat." Kim Marie Norman said, "Thank you for keeping us timely and updated." Thank you, I appreciate that. Also, LaBaze, thank you for joining the Tattle Talks family. Aja Haitians, thank you so much. James Johnson said, "Get it, girlie, hit that like button." And Cher Holland, thank you so much for the super chat. Also, we got Rosie Metha, thank you for the super chat. And we got, hold on, y'all. We got Tabitha Dawn said, "Why did the defense object to Dawn testifying?" I'll tell you why. We're about to get into that, right? Trick1913 said, "Thank you for the updates and doing the boots on the ground work for CSM Farm. Stay safe. Thank y'all for funding me." Also, Edgar Verdi, thank you so much for the membership. And then Ricardo Lucen said, "Tisa, I didn't see you this morning. I got worried." Tisa's alarm didn't go off. But y'all, I'm going to start being every single morning. You only got to tell me once. Thank you for the concern. And Servant Brianna said, "At this point, she's making him win." No, she not. Diddy is nowhere close to winning at all. Also, Ebony BGDD said, "Thanks for all the hard work." Kim Marie, I gotta find your message again, but sometimes if I let these go down the screen, I can't find them anymore. It's so annoying. I'm sure it'll pop back up. Linda Alos, thank you so much for the super chat. And Camille said, "Thank you, good job." Now we're about to talk to why Don. Now listen, let me just say, if you
so now they don't want Don.
And you don't believe that the actual experts say that what Cassie was texting him and doing is exactly what you do in that situation, then you just got to have your own conversation. Because, baby, the facts are the facts. These people went to school for almost 15 years. I don't need your opinion from what you saw that happened down the street. Again, I say that with respect. So it is fine with that. But I will say this, right? The defense is now trying to get Cassie down, not to testify. Why? They're trying to say that she was supposed to be forced labor, and they said she didn't qualify, so she can't testify about the forced labor. But why do they really not want her testifying? They don't want her testifying because Dawn literally witnessed a bunch of Diddy's brutal beatings. You know, and witnessed him having Cassie strung out, and witnessed how he had that girl treating her like a rag doll and living in fear, and witnessing how it wasn't DV. It was literally actually SMEX trafficking. Dawn is a witness, and they're trying to block that. The federal prosecutors came in and said, no, you don't understand. We're not talking about the forced labor, and she's not talking about this and that. We just want her to talk about what she saw and witnessed about the Diddy criminal enterprise and what he did to Cassie and the way Cassie acted. And the feds are doing their best to try to fight anybody from actually talking about it. So ask yourself why an innocent man, they got all this stuff and got the defense working on him. Ask him why all he can do. Diddy can't win on the facts. All he can do is win off of Instagram spin. All he can do is win off of suppressing people's voices. All he can do is win off of silencing. If he silences everybody, he wins. If he can control the blogs, maybe he wins. But the funny thing is, for all these people defending Diddy and all the paid bots, Diddy can't win on the truth. And even though he tried his best to make Cassie look like a liar, baby, the people in the courtroom know. At least the people that literally will accept that there is such a thing as victims of abuse. And domestic violence doesn't mean that you are sitting there locked in the shed, treated like a wild animal. It could mean that. DB, sex trafficking, the face of it is someone that controls your mind and has beat you down so much, like a dog that still is loyal to, even though you beat them down and they're tortured, that you don't even need to have them shackled up. They'll go and lock them own selves in the cage. Y'all, this case is a trial of a century. And I will say one thing, this case is a wake-up call for the way we deal with victims of domestic violence, the way we look at what sex trafficking is. That's part of the reason why people can't even recognize when sex trafficking is going on. Because they think it's something like Liam Neeson taken, where they're all kept in a cage and bought out. When in real life, it is literally you being mentally held hostage. Also, Charnel Bell, thank you so much for the super chat. Renee Elise said you love the channel. Margie Ross, thank you so much, Mama. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Also, I'm going to give a shout out to Charlene Small. Who else did I miss? Jacqueline Canary Park said, yes, I was nearly killed. I was nearly killed by my sister. When I was alone with her brother and friend and they left. People don't understand the stabs of fear. Exactly. Not by your sister, but with her. I apologize. AKA Respect Pickle said, you left your abusive boyfriend 5 years ago. 3 years later, hearted to talk. He wanted to talk. He grabbed your hand and wouldn't let go. You felt rushed in. Exactly. Y'all, we got to wake up. I'm Mayas's mom. Thank you so much for the super chat. Jamie Goldsmith Corrigan, thank you for the super chat. Barbara Domingo, thank you for the super chat. We are live outside the courtroom. Dana T said, keep up the great work. T said, thank you so much, Dana T. I appreciate you. Anthony Martin said, you're the black Lois Lane. Lois Lane is a white Tisa Town. Okay, anyway, can't wait for your Diddy Old Man River walk into the courtroom to become a meme. Also, George Jensen said, Lord have mercy. I love this woman. Thank you so much, George. I'm still trying to find out what Kim Marie said to me, but oh, get this. Alex Fine. Hold on a second.
Her husband.
Hold on. Really quick, y'all. Alex Fine, Cassie's husband, who has made a statement to the press. Alex Fine has made a statement to the press. Let me read that to y'all really quick. Thank you so much, Keith. Keith, hold on. Let me get the statement. Last thing before I go in, Cleef 7118, thank you so much for the super chat. Alex Fine has just made a statement. I'm gonna read that to y'all. For all y'all saying, oh, he gonna leave Cassie, I would leave. Shut up. Anyway, Nest Dog was at work. What happened? Your title said, yes, Cassie was vindicated. Diddy's team almost made her look like a liar right before the break, but the prosecution came back and vindicated her. Deb 8 said, T said, you remind me of Lisa Bonet during the 90s. Oh my God. Thank y'all so much. And Cassie is also sorry via her lawyer. Let me read these statements to you, if you will allow me to. Alex Fine made a great statement this is directly from Kesha on Twitter, saying Alex Fine made a great statement via his lawyer about challenging yet empowering how this has been for her. She said the more she heals, the more she remembers, and the more she remembers, the more she will never forget. He said this week has been extremely challenging, but also remarkably, this is Cassie's statement. Oh, thank you so much, Happy, for the super chat. She said, this week has been extremely challenging, but also remarkably empowering and healing for me. I hope that testimony has given strength and a voice to other survivors and can help others who have suffered to speak up and also heal from abuse and fear. For me, the more I heal, the more I can remember, and the more I can remember, the more I will never forget. Douglas Wigler made that on behalf of Cassie. She said, I want to thank my family and my advocates for their unwavering support, and I'm grateful for the kindness and encouragement that I've received. I'm glad to put this chapter of my life to rest as I turn a new leaf and ask for continued privacy, happiness, and help from my family, from my growing family. Baby, that is the best revenge. Live your life. Alex also made a statement. Let me pull that up really quick. Hold on really quick. Let me grab Alex's statement. And then I'm trying to see. Oh, they left already? Okay. I was trying to see if I could catch them by the courthouse. And Linda Alus, and also Happy, thank you so much for the super chat. Also want to say thank you to Anne Marie for joining. And Zero Fit Life said the crazy part is the same men who say they go for younger women because they're easier to control and manipulate are the same men saying Cassie isn't a victim. Exactly. They are sick. They are sick. Lord, cover me with the gift of discernment and keep me away from these type of people. But anyway, really quick, I just want to say a few more super chats, then we're going to get into Alex's statement. Because Alex wants us to know he ain't going nowhere. And y'all can say whatever you want about his wife, but don't forget that's him, his MF wife, and it's going to stay his MF wife. I mean, Alex hit the jackpot. Say what you want. You got a woman that looked like Cassie. They got you 3 beautiful kids, and she worth $30 million. Baby, I'd be $1 million on the streets for her too. But Alex was with her when she was broken and there was nothing left, and picked her up. That man loves him some Cassie. Candy Ortiz, thank you so much for the super chat. And also Johnny Appleseed said, I thank God for you in that courtroom and for coming outside with the truth. You are a beautiful soul and brilliant. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. And the heart of gold. Catching my brothers being like, please. Anyway, right? Somebody said, Carrie Harris said, it's a Nicki comment true. So Nicki Minaj, Laura London, Nicki Minaj, a few other people were mentioned in the thing, but Nicki Minaj, she was mentioned by, they said that Diddy paid for studio time with Cassie and Nicki. But the funny thing is, that's another thing I was saying, defense is proving prosecution's point. You had her in the studio, and you paid for all these studio times, and you had her in the studio with some of the biggest stars, but you ain't let one song come out. And Cassie was big back then. You didn't let one song come out. Ask yourself, why is that? Because you didn't want her to have a career. You just wanted her to be your little sex slave. Anyway, here's what Alex said. He said, over the past 5 days, the world has gotten to witness the strength and bravery of my wife, freeing herself of the past. There has been speculation online surrounding how it must feel for me to sit there and listen to my wife's testimony. I felt so many things sitting here. I felt tremendous pride. I'm so sweet. Tremendous pride and overwhelming love for Cass. I felt profound anger that she has been subjected to sitting in front of a person who tried to break her. So to him and all those who helped him along the way, please know this. You did not. You did not break her spirit, nor her smile that lights up every room. You did not break the souls of a mother who gives the best hugs and plays the silliest games with our little girls. You did not break the woman who has made me a better man. I did not save Cassie. I did not save Cassie, as some have said. To say that is an insult to the years of painful work my wife has done to save herself. Cassie saved Cassie. She alone broke free from abuse, coercion, violence, and threats. She did the work of fighting the demons that only a demon himself could have done to her. All I have done is love her as she loved me. Her life is now surrounded by love, laughter, and our family. This horrific chapter is forever behind us, and we will not be making additional statements. We appreciate all the, I know that's right, go and buy your private island and live in peace with that 30 million.
30 million.
We appreciate all the love and support we have received, and we ask you that you respect our privacy as we welcome our son. Oh, they now have a son. Our son into a world that is now safer because of his mom. I know that's right. You better eat them all the way up, Alex, and let Diddy know you ain't stopped nothing. The only thing that got stopped, Diddy, was your career and that track. And I don't care what anybody says. That's what a real man does. They protect you enough that leaves you the space to grow and stand in your power. And that's what Alex did. No, Candy Ortiz said, Tisa, I love you, girl. Thank you. And also Tony said, keep going, Tisa. Oh, my God, Tony, I will keep going. Thank you for buying me dinner. Okay, let's keep going. Tony, thank you for the generous super chat. I appreciate you. Also, Angela Allen said, thank you. Your updates are so good. Will anyone else be charged? It looks like Diddy might have co-conspirators, security and assistance, but we are going to know Sunday at 5 p.m. Well, actually Monday, but the judge is getting Sunday at 5 p.m. the full government witness list. If you are not on that witness list, you are a co-conspirator, and co-conspirators get charged with just as much as the head honcho in charge. Miss Case 1771 said, thank you for your phenomenal coverage. Love from London. Evening, Governor. Love from just touched down in London town. Okay, so hold on. Who else am I missing? Hold on really quick. Sean Kearney said, as a victim of rape and DV, I know you will say anything to stay safe while you're trying to figure a way out. Exactly.
Laura
If
London
people only
on there.
hear
I see her name.
they might think you want to stay, but it's a tactic to survive. Exactly. It's a tactic to survive. Also, Edgar Verdi, thank you so much for the super chat. Nicola, thank you again for the super chat. Hold Your Power, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate y'all. Listen, you guys, let me get back into that courtroom. I will talk to y'all.
Yeah, their A-listers name dropped in jury selection. Kanye West, Cassie, Michael B. Jordan, Mike Myers, Kid Cudi, Aubrey O'Day, Lauren London, Michelle Williams, Don Richard, Justin Combs, Christian Combs, and Dallas Austin. Very interesting. Let me go to, before I go back to her, let me go here. I want to hear what Gene said. He popped back out. He also made mention that he was going. Come on, what we doing, what we doing, what we doing?
Gene Deal, happy to have you back on the platform, man. Man, we been here, done that. Let's do it again. Yes, indeed, man. We got a lot to get into, man. It's a lot going on this week. The first week of Diddy trial. I got to get your opinion on that. Yeah, man. It's a lot of people giving opinions now. At first, everybody was scared to give their opinion, and now they front and center telling all their stories, all their Diddy stories. He gonna break the internet. He gonna break YouTube. You see how many content creators is coming out and giving their opinion on this subject?
She got that 10 million days before the Diddy trial began.
So I guess you got a couple of questions for me right now, don't you? Yeah, man, I got a lot to ask you. All right, man. Hey, before you get started, man,
He wanted to
I
clear
know
up
most
some.
of this stuff is going to be about the trial and everything like that, but I just want people to know that I want to say something regarding the whole trial that came out that I thought that was significant. And another content creator had somebody who came out and spoke on this stuff, and this is about D-Rock. I did a whole... Yo, you don't mind if I do this, Mighty, right? No, break it all down. You got all the time in the world, man. All right, thanks, brother. I did a whole show. It's called The Biblical Betrayal of Biggie Smalls, where I lined up whatever happened to Big that night that week, and how it got played out to where he lost his life. When I said that D-Rock and Puff had Big go to that party. Now, it came out in the trial about D-Rock. Cassie was mentioning a lot of stuff about D-Rock. It's a couple stories I knew. One, D-Rock told me the story. You understand? When I first was trying to get in touch with Puff. And two, I heard what Cassie had said. But I don't want to address that because I don't know your line of questioning. But I do want to address this. That D-Rock is the one who got Big out the room, and that's when Puff had took D-Rock about all day, and me and Big was in a Winnebago together talking about his whole life story. Big told me his whole life story. I told this 1,000 times, brother. But in the trial, Cassie had said something about D-Rock being head of Puff security after I had left. You understand? And that's when D-Rock had came home. You understand? They all moved out to California, the whole 9 yards. Now, D-Rock let Puff trick him. I don't believe that D-Rock was that sinister and knew what he was doing. I can't believe that he knew what he was doing and getting Big to that party. I knew that Puff may have promised him something. Puff may have promised D-Rock something to help him get Big to that party. Because for some reason, Big had to be at that party. Because Puff is the one who, and you'll see in Kirk Burroughs' papers, that Puff is the one who scratched out Big trip from going to London. And then turned around and lied that Big didn't want to go to London, which was a bunch of crap. You understand what I'm saying? Because he asked Clark Kent to go to London with him. He asked Clark Kent to go to London with him. And Clark Kent was going to go to London with him, God bless the dead. You understand? Clark Kent told that story. Now, in this trial, Cassie was telling how D-Rock and Puff was trying to line Suge Knight up. But like I said, I'm not going to get into that right now. I'm just going to get into the fact that D-Rock has been with Puff since Big died. You understand? He went and did a little time, and when he was in jail, he was letting everybody know when he come home, Puff was going to take care of him. And he became head of Puff security, making sure Puff was all right. Puff also gave him that clothing line, which was Bully. It was Big's ideal, but it was Invisible Bully. You understand? Gave him that clothing line. They was doing a little work, and he was doing the T-shirts and everything like that. And I guess Puff was actually, paying him back for helping him get Big to that party. I'm glad Miss Wallace ain't here, brother, to see and hear what we're finding out about D-Rock now and the things that he did and how he was, so close to Puff.
Got everybody just betraying everybody.
And it's crazy right now. I'm glad Miss Wallace is not here to hear that because she was somewhat fond of D-Rock. You understand? She was really fond of D-Rock. But It's crazy, man, how all this stuff is going out. And I told this story, and now it's become viral on a lot of platforms and a lot of things is going viral on the internet that D-Rock helped line Big up, for that night Big got murdered.
Ain't that sad?
You understand?
And he watched Cassie get beat up.
And it goes through my mind every time I hear something about that when I'm seeing D-Rock hold his head talking about, yo, they got my man, the night Big got shot up. So I just wanted to bring that out there, bro. And you might have some more questioning on that later on or whatever, I don't know. But you go ahead and do your thing, man. That was real big on this trial to me, to hear that come out there like that.
Wow, man. But speaking of Suge, Cassie testified that Diddy stopped in the middle of a freak-off. When D-Rock came in the room and told Diddy that Suge was at a diner, you know anything about that? Can you break that down?
Well, see, I know two situations like that. See, Cassie told the story on the witness stand about how Puff and her was in a freak-off, and then D-Rock intervened or whatever like that, and they masked themselves up in all black, took the guns out the safe, and went to find Suge. You know what I'm saying? Suge even spoke about he glad they didn't find him because a whole
It's
lot
gonna
of
all
other people
come out,
probably
y'all.
been dead then too, if they would have found him. Now, she testified that, Puff and D-Rock was going to try to, unalive Suge. You know what I'm saying? Now, what I do know this, me and D-Rock had a conversation about why he's so close to Puff now. You understand? And he told me he was in a diner, Mel's Diner. I guess it's probably Mel's Diner. That's one of the diners that stay late open in California. He said that he was trapped in there and he ain't have no burners or nothing on him. He ain't have no guns, no nothing. He said he called Puff. Now, this is a story coming from D-Rock. He said he called Puff, and Puff came there. But if Puff would have came in the diner, they would have known something. He didn't come to the diner. He sent Cassie in there with the burners. And Cassie gave D-Rock the gun in the diner. Now, this is coming from D-Rock. The story Cassie told is that it was a whole different story from what D-Rock had told me, because D-Rock said he was in the diner himself. And Puff came down there with the guns, sent Cassie in there and gave him one, and was outside waiting on him to come outside. So that's the story that I knew, and I had already said that and expressed that in one of my shows before. Now, the story Cassie told, it was like she saw D-Rock and Puff both put on black and went to go unalive Suge. So those are two different stories that I know of. You know, one from D-Rock and the one we heard from Cassie. It may be the same story, and Cassie just flipped it some kind of way. Because D-Rock told me this years ago. And then maybe Cassie just, flipped it in a certain kind of way because she took the gun to D-Rock, according to D-Rock.
Crazy, man. But to get into this lawsuit, right, Cassie, she testified that Diddy would force male escorts to urinate in her mouth during freakos.
Let's go. Ha!
My man, that's a touchy and difficult subject when you're a man and you have daughters. You understand? And that's why we as men need to play a prominent part in our daughters' lives, because you get men like this that's got this corrupt and devious minds that they don't respect womanhood. You understand? That's some nasty, perverted
When you have daughters.
things that you want to have somebody urinate in the mouth of somebody who going to be talking to you in your face, who going to be kissing on you, who going to be eating food with you. What kind of deviant and crazy mind you have to have somebody do that to somebody that you care about, you're supposed to care about, that you're supposed to love, man. Something is sick about that, brother. You can't tell me that that's some kind of fetish. You know what I'm saying? He didn't outdid R. Kelly with that right there, bro, when I heard that. So that's an effed up subject and situation, man, to even imagine that you got somebody doing that to somebody that you supposed to care about and you supposed to be in a relationship with.
Yeah, when I heard that, that was crazy to hear. Disturbing, man.
You can't make this shit up, bro. This is made for XXX TV. The stories that we're hearing about the things that Cassie has done, and we got these people out here believing that, she made this shit up. She ain't did this with nobody. I ain't seen not one of her ex-boyfriends.
I agree.
Ain't seen not one of the people that she dated in high school or none of that stuff come out and say that she was doing that way before she got to Diddy. So it is disturbing, bro. It's disturbing that he could brainwash her to the point whereas that she believing that she pleasing him and all his fetishes and everything by doing some that she's doing for him, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, she testified that Diddy, he'll rub male escorts cum on his nipples. That's crazy, man.
Bro, what do you want me to say about that? That's some nasty, perverted you know what I'm saying? Bro, when you that high...
I'm glad I missed that
and
one.
you into that... that's the...
Demonic.
To me,
go ahead and say it. Demonic.
Bro. That's some old crazy other world excuse me for my language. That's some crazy other world stuff that people in their right minds don't even think of stuff like that, bruh. People that's not in a whole sense of being perverted, that's triple X type of shit, man. That's stuff that normal people don't even think of, man. How high do you get that you want another man juices rubbed on you after dating ejaculated or come on your girl? How high do you get for that shit, bruh? I always say this. Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Yep.
That's crazy. But do you believe that he'll rub male escorts cum on his nipples? Like, you believe he'll do something like that?
I believe from the witness. The witness
He
said
believes her.
The witness said that's what she had to do, and that's what she did. She's being forefront in her testimony. She's telling all the nasty stuff that she did.
Ain't that the same thing I said? She telling on herself. So where would the lie be at if she telling on herself? If she says, yeah, I was cool with it to a certain point, she's admitting that she took part in it, but she's also admitting that she wanted to stop and he wouldn't let her. I agree everything Jean's saying. Let's go.
She said all the nasty stuff that he did. Right now, he's getting his judgment right here on earth, bro. He's hearing all the perverted
All his
he
karma.
had to get for that shit, bro.
All his karma.
I always say this. Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Yeah, that's crazy. But do you believe that he'll rub male escorts cum on his nipples? Like, you believe he'll do something like that?
I believe from the witness. The witness said it. The witness said that's what she had to do, and that's what she did. She's being forefront in her testimony. She's telling all the nasty stuff that she did. She said all the nasty stuff that he did. Right now, he's getting his judgment right here on earth, bro. He's hearing all the perverted things he had to see that he was doing, and now that he's not on those drugs, reality is sinking in. See, when he's all on those drugs and everything like that, it seemed like it was nothing. But now that he's been in jail, and he probably ain't getting the drugs, because we know they sneak drugs in jail too. You understand? But he probably
Yeah,
ain't
he
getting the
tested
drugs.
positive.
He's sitting there, and reality is hitting him, man. He's seeing all the stuff that he was doing, and
He tested
it
positive.
probably be a time that he break down in court, some kind of way.
Yeah, she also testified how Diddy had an inflatable pool in his hotel room where he filled it up with baby oil for a freak off.
Yo,
With
my man,
Tootsie.
all this is coming from the drugs. You put an inflatable pool in a hotel, you take baby oil and you fill it up, and you watch your
What type
girl
of sick fetish?
get smashed out by a male escort that you didn't pay to come in to have sex with her, so you can get his semen and rub it on your body and watch and man, come on, bro. I hope this ain't the whole interview, bro. This line of questioning is nasty, bro. This line of questioning is crazy that we are witnessing one of the most perverted acts.
Facts.
But this was be happening behind closed doors, bro. He ain't the only one.
He ain't the only one.
He probably been to other parties like that. He probably seen other dudes and other people that's just as rich as he is doing some crazy shit like this, bro.
Facts.
Yeah, she also said how Diddy had her heating up the baby oil in a sink with hot water for freakos.
He put her to work, I guess, man.
He
It's
did
crazy.
what?
He put her to work, man, all kind of way. She's his girl. She's an employee. She's a singer. She's a sex slave. You understand? My man, the things that he had this little girl do, and the brainwashing, and people don't believe that she was brainwashed, man.
Shit.
Bodies like that. He probably seen other dudes and other people that's just as rich as he is doing some crazy shit like this, bro.
Yeah, she also said how Diddy had her heating up the baby oil in a sink with hot water for freakos.
He put her to work, I guess, man. It's crazy. He put her to work, man, all kind of way. She's his girl. She's an employee. She's a singer. She's a sex slave. You understand? My man, the things that he had this little girl do,
Look at her.
and the brainwashing, and people don't believe that she was brainwashed, man. They think that she thought of all this stuff, even when she instructed the dude to pee in her mouth. He probably told her way before this, I want him to pee in your mouth. And she probably said, before she got high, in my mouth?
Hey,
You want him to
English.
pee in my mouth? And then she got so high and on those drugs, she gonna allow him to do that because she rather take the piss in the mouth than the fist in the mouth.
Ooh.
And people don't see that.
Ooh. Ooh. Whoa, 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 whoa. She would rather take the piss, urine in her mouth over the fist in her mouth. That ring a little different. That ring a little different. Do you want piss or fist? Piss or fist? But you love me, and these are the options you are giving me. Piss or fist? And y'all don't think something was wrong with her mentally, that she was a trauma, what is it called, Fawn'N? Hey, Willie Spencer, that was deep to me. Let me go
He
back.
probably told her way before this, I want him to pee in your mouth. And she probably said, before she got high, in my mouth? You want him to pee in my mouth? And then she got so high and on those drugs, she gonna allow him to do that because she rather take the piss in the mouth than the fist in the mouth. And people don't see that. Now, I'm not hating on they sexual fantasies and the they doing, but the psychological point of it is that this is a young girl. And I can't believe that she just want him mofo to pee in her mouth. She trying to please dude, bro. And she was doing anything to try to please him. You know what I'm saying? So I guess she was taking the piss in the mouth instead of the fist in the mouth.
Oh, wow.
And speaking of the urine situation,
Oh,
an
wow.
escort actually testified that Diddy got mad at him for pissing on Cassie too much.
How do you determine how much piss it is? You know what I'm saying? But dude is a demon, bro.
Facts.
Dude is a demon.
Ain't no way around it.
I realized he was a demon at Shine trial. And I don't care what nobody say, man. And like, when people still talk and keep on talking, if that priest ever come out and he talking, if people keep talking, you'll find out that a lot of that Gene Deal has said has been the truth and nothing but the truth. I was there.
What priest?
I was there when that priest or whoever he was rubbed that stuff on his head, put his hand on top of him, told him to grab the bird out the cage, the white dove, and he threw the dove in the air, and the dove acted like he ain't had no wings and hit the fucking ground. Boom!
Where is Silky? I could.
That motherfucker started walking my way, the cage,
He
the
said,
white
what?
dove, and he threw the dove in the air, and the dove acted like he ain't had no wings and hit the fucking ground. Boom!
What type of priest?
That motherfucker started walking my way. I'm looking like this, bro. I'm like,
A voodoo doctor? What type of priest is this?
and he talking. If people keep talking, you'll find out that a lot of that Gene Deal has said has been the truth and nothing but the truth. I was there. I was there when that priest or whoever he was rubbed that stuff on his head, put his hand on top of him, told him to grab the bird out the cage, the white dove, and he threw the dove in the air, and the dove acted like he ain't had no wings and hit the fucking ground. Boom! That motherfucker started walking my way. I'm looking like this, bro. I'm like, and he just walked past me. Like he didn't even see me. We going to the same place. We about to go to Shine trial. He walked past me, bro. Didn't say nothing. And in my mind, I'm saying, shh, 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 shh. Bah, 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 bah. And I know that's the the Jason music, but in my mind, it was like the Damien music.
Damien
to
owe
me.
me too.
And I was like, yo, that nigga is Damien.
Mm-hmm.
Swear for a living
Didn't I
God,
say
bro.
that
That's
about-
what went through my mind. I said, yo, this nigga is Damien. When
Didn't
that
I
bird
call
fell
him
down there.
Damien?
And I was like, yo, that shit was crazy, man. I know that's off the subject, man, but that dude, you can't tell me, bro. That dude was possessed with some kind of demon, man. He was possessed with some kind of demon. Want to be in all this red, this dark rooms with the music blasting. It had to be a certain temperature. You know, a certain type of music.
Calculated
for the
demon.
vibration they were saying. Come on, bro.
And you really believe that he had her brainwashed to that extent?
Yes.
My man, I seen a lot of beautiful women around Diddy. And whether it's the money, the promises, or whatever, it gets them. I've seen women walk out the room and I was like, damn, when did she come here? And they was bad. And they had a smile on their face.
Demon possessed.
Like,
Touched
I
by a
was like,
demon.
it got to be for the money. It's got to be for the money.
And
Or
y'all
whatever.
say it's
Or
like
the
a little
status,
factious
or to
row.
be somewhere. Yo, she had a 10-album deal, brother. And I don't even think she put out an album. And she wanted to be the next star. She could have been Aaliyah, like Aaliyah. She could have been music like J-Lo. She could have been a lot of things because what she didn't have, he gave to her. He helped enhance her beauty. getting her teeth fixed, getting her hair done, her boob job, giving her a personal trainer that she ended up marrying.
And he
gave
wanted that
her
money back.
the persona of being a great artist without doing what he should have done musically for her. She put out 1 or 2 songs, I think.
He
Did she ever put out an album? I don't think she put out
Yeah,
one
I think
album.
so. Yeah, she put out an album.
She put out an album?
Yeah, 1.
Okay.
One.
1. 9 more to go. But the things that she did in order to have that deal, it came with her soul being tortured, probably for the rest of her life, man.
Mm. Mm.
Meet Sam.
Hold
Every
on,
day
y'all.
starts with his morning routine. Like many of us.
Is this today?
Here we go. Another day at court. My goodness. Is Diddy's defense getting to Cassie? How's her demeanor in court today?
To watch someone who is visibly pregnant sort of take deep breaths at times, she's keeping her cool. Honestly, she didn't cry or anything like that. Obviously, early on in the testimony, there were some things that had her in tears. But today, she's been very calm, very measured, especially considering the audio clip that we heard of her threatening to kill someone. I looked over at the jury box because I was wanting to hear their reaction as we're hearing in real time her voice threatening several times to kill someone because she's concerned about this freak-off video, and the jurors were shocked. I saw the eyebrows raised, I saw them listening, and I think to hear her voice in court and see how calm and measured she is, and then to hear that side of her. Again, it wasn't 2014 that this audio clip was something that she recorded, but clearly she's threatening someone who she thinks might release a freak-off video, and she's worried about it.
And the person that she was threatening was one of Diddy's associates.
Correct.
Okay. So you saw the jurors' reactions to that audio tape. What was Diddy's reaction? What was Cassie's own reaction when she heard her audio?
She just kind of looked down. I mean, she wasn't, and it was hard for me. I have a great shot of the jury in terms of where I'm sitting. I can see Sean Combs. I have to sort of raise up to look at Cassie Ventura, but she seems to be very calm. I mean, I think she knows that some of this evidence was going to come out. So she's answering the questions, yes, no. When she doesn't remember something, she's very clear about that. But the prosecution, the defense has been trying to poke some holes into the testimony she gave about the alleged rape that she said took place toward the end of their relationship.
How are they trying to poke holes in that alleged rape that took place?
The timeline. They're looking at the timeline. They're asking her questions. Well, was it this time or that time? They're also looking at around that same time she was still talking to or dating, as she says, her now husband, Alex Fine. So they're trying to really, in many ways, I think what they're trying to do is question her credibility.
So Cassie was asked about receiving a FaceTime from her now husband while she was having sex with Diddy. Is that again the case of the defense trying to poke holes in her story?
I think that's where it goes back to how much can we trust this person, because they're entering evidence with phone records and different things to show, well, you were with this person at this time, or you sent that message, but yet you were dating this person. This is about a criminal enterprise, and there are several elements to that don't necessarily speak to if she was in bed with Diddy or if she was FaceTiming her now husband. So I think they're trying to use what they can, again, to discredit her overall as a witness, because this is also about beyond a reasonable doubt.
Right. Diddy's personality, his temper has come up, and today his own defense lawyer said, could it have been his bipolar disorder? What was the reaction in the court?
Right. So again, this is the moment where the prosecution's asking Ventura about testimony that she gave. I didn't see a reaction, so to speak, from the jurors necessarily when this issue came up. But again, it speaks to these mood swings that they've been talking about that he has, that Ventura has said 1 minute he could be nice and he could be kind, but with the drugs and with the alcohol, it was a completely different person.
The prosecutors are hoping that Cassie's testimony wraps up today. They're afraid she's going to go into labor over the weekend. What are you hearing
And
inside of
she's
the
having
courtroom?
a boy.
With rumblings as to whether or not she will be wrapped up today, and what would happen if she doesn't finish her testimony? What would happen to the case?
To watch someone who is that far along in their pregnancy breathe, kind of take their time, ask for breaks. It's not shocking that they want to get her off this stand so she can focus on having her third child.
Even more text messages are being revealed today, and one text message in particular, Cassie writes, "I'm lost without you." How damaging was that text message?
Honestly, Rachel, there have been several text messages where she shows that she wants to be with Sean Combs for the rest of her life. We know now that she called herself Cece for Cassie Combs. We know now that
And she got
wanted to
10
have a
million
child
from
with him. She
the
saw herself as a
hotel
wife.
right
So
before-
to say those things at this point is not that
Right
surprising.
before
But even
this
the
trial
defense
started.
ended their argument with a
So
text
she
message
30
from
a $30 million
2012,
lift.
which appears to show Combs saying, "I want to do our last freak off." And then she says something to the effect of, "I don't want it to be, I want it to be the first for the rest of my life." That's what is on redirect. The prosecution showed the context of that text is, "I don't want to do freak offs anymore."
That's the head spin right there.
It is, and I think you could feel that energy in the courtroom.
Right.
Because I looked over at one of my colleagues and I like, did I write this down correctly? So yeah, I mean, but that's sort of what makes this case so interesting, because you have someone who was in this long-term committed relationship, and they say they had breaks at times, but 11 years is not something to sneeze at. And that was a long time that they were together, but it was complicated, it's complex. But Cassie Ventura maintains throughout that she really didn't want to do these freak-offs, that she just wanted to be with Sean Combs.
We're anticipating that on Monday, Dawn Richard will be taking the stand. What might we expect to hear from her testimony?
Yeah, Dawn Richard was famously in that Making a Band that was created by Combs, and she filed a lawsuit last year, a civil suit, saying that she was physically and emotionally abused.
More close testimony to come.
Absolutely. The book.
Oh, yes.
So-
Tell me about the book.
Something else that I thought was interesting is sort of this timeline that the defense laid out. And they showed that Combs and Cassie Ventura had been in contact with each other via text in 2020. This is around the time she had just had her first child. He's congratulating her and saying Frankie's beautiful, so using her daughter's name. And it seemed like they were both sort of having this exchange of sending love and sending light, and I hope your family's well. And one of the last texts Cassie Ventura sent was something to the effect of, "I hope one day we'll have an opportunity to talk soon." The defense said, "And you never got that opportunity, did you?" That was in 2020. Then they built up the case and said, "Oh, by the way, in October of 2023, you moved back home. Is that correct?" And she said, "Well, yeah, I moved back with my parents. You guys have a modest home, your family home where you grew up." And she said, she said, "Yeah, you know, modest home." So they reiterated, "So your mother, your father, your husband, and your two children moved back to Connecticut to move to LA?" She talks about, "Yeah, we were transitioning. We wanted to come to the East Coast." Then they said, "Where was your financial income? Where was the money coming from?" "Your husband was a physical trainer." That's correct. She answers the question, yes, he was a physical trainer. They're getting to this idea that money was tight around this time. She moves back home. She's not necessarily feeding into that narrative on the stand. But then they go to that November 2023, a settlement is filed in which she winds up getting $20 million, which we now know. But today we learned that the book that she wanted to offer the rights to Sean Combs for $30 million, she called it The Dark Times. For anyone who's been following this story, many of us know that in 2022, Sean Combs at the BET Awards literally shouted out Cassie and said, "Thank you for holding me down during the dark times." Yeah.
Plot twist.
Oh,
That
wow.
is wild.
But again, it's all about literally shouted out Cassie and said, "Thank you for holding me down during the dark."
When was this?
The book that she wanted to offer the rights to Sean Combs for $30 million, she called it The Dark Times. For anyone who's been following this story, many of us know that in 2022, Sean Combs at the BET Awards literally shouted out Cassie and said, "Thank you for holding me down during the dark times."
Wow.
Yeah.
Plot twist. That is wild.
But again, it's all about them trying to create this narrative that money was down. She never got the opportunity to have this sit down that she wanted. But to show that things were apparently all good in 2020, almost 2 years after they split up, they're sending each other light and love. And now here we are, 2025. And not only was there a civil settlement, now you've got someone facing criminal charges.
I also found it interesting that when asked if she hates Diddy,
She said, I never hated him.
and still to this day
Still doesn't hate him to this day. Yeah. It's a lot to parse out.
Oh, wow. Let's go to the next one. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hey, where's that one at? Hold on. Let's go here. They conclude.
As long as probably forever there's only been one Frosty. Because what would we even do? Add a bunch of new swirls and mix-ins like Oreo cookies or Pop-Tarts pieces? That's kind of genius, actually. For a fresh way to Frosty?
Y'all
gotta
please
be
support the
Wendy's.
platform.
Week of testimony in the high-profile sex trafficking and racketeering conspiracy trial against Sean Diddy Combs coming to a close. After 4 days on the stand, Cassie Ventura, Diddy's ex, and the woman whose civil lawsuit really cracked open this case, wrapping up her testimony. Earlier in the day, attorneys getting heated over completing her questioning today. She's 8.5 months pregnant and on the verge of going into labor. Prosecutors claiming the defense dragging it out, trying to force a mistrial. The testimony, again, graphic. Ventura's husband, Alex Fine, at one point walking out of court as his wife was peppered with questions about allegedly being raped. Also today, Dawn Richard spotted entering court, the former member of Diddy's girl group, Danity Kane, who prosecutors also called to the stand. The hip-hop mogul has firmly denied all allegations in this case. We have a lot to get to, including a
Dawn
new statement
showed up
from
in
Cassie
court.
right after she wrapped up her testimony, and why
Ooh-wee.
Chris Brown's name came up while she was on the witness stand. But first, let's get right to our chief investigative reporter, Aaron Katursky, who has been inside the federal courthouse in Manhattan all week. He joins us outside court right now. Aaron, Cassie Ventura completing her testimony. She's been pretty stoic, but this afternoon she broke down in tears.
She did, Eva, and she had kept her composure for most of her 4 days on the witness stand under really uncomfortable cross-examination and testimony generally, the most intimate, graphic, demeaning things that you could imagine she spoke about in open court in front of everybody. And she broke down today when she was asked by prosecutor Emily Johnson on redirect examination whether Sean Combs had beat her during freak-offs, those marathon drug-fueled sex sessions with male prostitutes. And she said yes. And then she was asked, after the defense had suggested she might have been motivated by money here, would she give back the $20 million that Sean Combs gave her as part of a civil settlement? She said, I would give the money back because I would have agency and autonomy, and I wouldn't have to work so hard to get those things back.
Aaron, at one point during Cassie's testimony, her husband actually got up and left.
He had to. Alex Fine was told by the defense that he might be called as a witness. So when Cassie Ventura started talking about the alleged rape she said Sean Combs committed in 2018, that's when he had to leave. It couldn't have been comfortable anyway for him. But the defense had tried to raise questions about Cassie's recollection. At first she said it was September 2018. Then the defense pointed out how she changed the time frame to August of 2018. And then the defense suggested she made it up when her now husband, Alex Fine, found out that she was having a sexual night with Sean Combs because apparently Fine had FaceTimed her. She didn't answer the call. And later, when she was explaining what was going on with Sean Combs, she said, Sean Combs raped me. Now, of course, Cassie disputes that, and prosecutors tried to clean that up on redirect, saying Cassie Ventura had no doubt that Sean Combs did indeed carry out that rape.
Aaron, you've been in court all week. Have there been any reactions from the jury that stood out to you?
Couple today, the jury was very interested in the exchange over Cassie's recollection of the rape allegation. They were paying close attention there. They got a little bored in the middle of the day when cross-examination seemed a bit disjointed and meandering, no real one topic or one time frame.
All over the place.
But then, toward the end, the jury got to hold some of the evidence. They got to see the money, the drugs, the baby oil that federal agents said they found in Sean Combs' hotel room in Midtown the night he was arrested.
Aaron, after Cassie got off the stand, 2 more witnesses
They got
were
to
called.
hold
Who did we
it.
hear from?
So the federal agent who helped coordinate the search of Sean Combs' hotel room, she's the one that held up $9,000 in cash, kind of fanned it like a deck of cards for the jury to see. She also testified that there was of the rape allegation. They were paying close attention there. They got a little bored in the middle of the day when cross-examination seemed a bit disjointed and meandering, no real one topic or one time frame. But then, toward the end, the jury got to hold some of the evidence. They got to see the money, the drugs, the baby oil that federal agents said they found in Sean Combs' hotel room in Midtown the night he was arrested.
Aaron, after Cassie got off the stand, 2 more witnesses were called. Who did we hear from?
So the federal agent who helped coordinate the search of Sean Combs' hotel room, she's the one that held up $9,000 in cash, kind of fanned it like a deck of cards for the jury to see. She also testified that there was ketamine and MDMA found in Combs' hotel room and other, kinds of supplies that Cassie Ventura said he would stock for freak-offs. The night he was arrested in New York back in 2024, and then Dawn Richard, the member of Diddy, Dirty Money, and Danity Kane, she said she was a witness to Sean Combs attacking Cassie Ventura.
Aaron Kotursky for us there outside court in Lower Manhattan.
The supplies that...
Aaron, after Cassie got off the stand, 2 more witnesses were called. Who did we hear from?
So the federal agent who helped coordinate the search of Sean Combs' hotel room, she's the one that held up $9,000 in cash, kind of fanned it like a deck of cards for the jury to see. She also testified that there was ketamine and MDMA found in Combs' hotel room and other, kinds of supplies that Cassie Ventura said he would stock for freak-offs. The night he was arrested in New York back in 2024, and then Dawn Richard, the member of Diddy, Dirty Money, and Danity Kane, she said she was a witness to Sean Combs attacking Cassie Ventura.
Aaron Kotursky for us there outside court in Lower Manhattan. Thank you so much for joining us all week. Let's bring in our ABC News legal contributor, Brian Buckmeyer. You were also there at court today. What do you think was the standout moment of the day?
So I think it was kind of hard to piece together what the standout moment was because, as Aaron Kotursky pointed out, the cross-examination seemed to meander at times. And I think on top of that, never really got to land the plane for the point they were trying to make. But as I've been following this case, I thought the timeline was very interesting because we know certain facts about this case. Cassie Ventura, when she releases her album, of course, when Kim Potter, the mother of Sean Combs' twin daughters and one son, when they had those children, when they broke up. And what's really important, I think, is near this end, because this is what the defense is trying to really hone in on, that all of this back and forth, the alleged rape, that consensual sex that she had after the alleged rape, when her now husband finds out about all of this, what the defense is trying to make a point of is the breakup between Cassie and Combs really happens just before Kim Potter dies. And we all know very publicly that Sean Combs comes out and says Kim Potter was his soulmate. And I think they're trying to make the argument that that's why this all broke up. Not because of the alleged rape, not because of the freak-offs, but because of this. Really trying to weave in this narrative of jealousy in this case.
They really were trying to kind of talk about the jealousy, the infidelity, that pattern between the two of them. Chris Brown was mentioned today. Apparently, Combs accused her of dancing with him. She denied that.
She can't
What was
dance?
this all about?
So we heard a lot of celebrity names, like you're correct, Chris Brown being one of them, dancing with Cassie, according to Sean Combs. We also heard about her dating Kid Cudi for a point of time. And also talking about, of course, Alex Fine, who she was dating at the time, but had that consensual sexual encounter with Sean Combs while, and the defense pointed this out, while she got a call from him. And that was a very tense moment in court, because I think they're trying to point out there's infidelity, jealousy, back and forth, and a lot of big names were mentioned in this case.
Also in court, there was this heated argument between the attorneys over when they were going to finish Cassie's testimony. What was that all about?
So interesting enough, if you watched us yesterday, we touched on this, about the bit of the gamesmanship. And so it did get really heated for a while, because at the end of the day, this case has been going on for a while, and the judge had said this cross-examination, redirect, all of that with Cassie Ventura must end by today, because she's 8 months pregnant and she has to go off and live her life and give birth. Well, the defense was really, really running out the clock, and I think in an attempt to try to get the last word there. But through some miracle, they were able to get all of the exhibits in. They did end early. There was a recross, redirect, recross, redirect. We went back and forth for a while. Ultimately, Cassie Ventura was off the stand. No issue of mistrial, which the government brought up. And then now we're continuing the case.
All right, Brian Buckmeyer, we're going to have more with you in just a little bit. As Brian mentioned, Cassie Ventura is nearly 9 months pregnant, and there was some urgency to wrap up her testimony today because she's due any day now. I want to bring in ABC News medical contributor Dr. Alok Patel. Okay, so break this down for us. How urgent was it really for her to be done with this testimony?
You know, Eva, there is an urgency to discuss a safe and healthy birth plan when someone is at 9 months. Generally speaking, if somebody is in a healthy pregnancy and everything is going okay, people can safely work up until their due date. This can obviously change depending on the situation. You also have to think about if a job is high risk and the long hours and the physical and mental toll it must take to sit in a courtroom all day long. This is why this is an important decision
I
that
don't
has
play
to be
some
taken
good
with
stuff and you
an individual
missed it.
and a healthcare team for the safest option and to make sure there's enough of a buffer to prepare for that delivery.
And Cassie Ventura testified today that throughout her pregnancy, she's continued to take the drug Suboxone. Can you explain what that medication is used for? Does that make her pregnancy more high risk?
You know, Suboxone is a medication that is commonly used to treat opioid use disorder, and it can be used in pregnancy. It's actually made up of two medications. One is to kind of reduce the risk of cravings, and one is to reduce the misuse probability. And so it can be used safely in pregnancies, and this is much safer than having a pregnancy in someone who has an untreated opioid use disorder, not only when it comes to the effects this could have on a pregnancy or developing baby, but also the risk of overdose. So technically speaking, any pregnancy where substance use disorder is involved is considered high risk, but a pregnancy where someone is being medically supervised with medication-assisted treatment and taking Suboxone, generally speaking, can be safe. And this is much better than someone going through a pregnancy without any treatment, both for mom and for the baby.
And just to be clear, you are not her doctor. You are a medical doctor, and we are really grateful to have your analysis. This has to be a stressful experience. Are there any risks that come from high stress so late in pregnancy?
That ain't big pressure.
You know, even multiple studies, including recommendations from national organizations such as the March of Dimes and ACOG, the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, have warned about the potential effects of both chronic and acute stress on pregnancy health. This can increase the risk of blood pressure, blood flow to a baby. This can affect the immune system and potentially cause some complications such as preterm labor. Now, again, it depends on the individual, but this is why managing stress alongside a whole host of mental health conditions is so important during pregnancy.
Dr. Patel, thank you so much for being with us. Still ahead, Cassie's message to her supporters after getting off the witness stand. Stay with us.
She got 10 mil in addition to her 20 mil. She got 10 mil from the hotel days before this trial started.
Welcome back. You're watching Burden of Proof, the case against Diddy. Week one of testimony in the Sean Diddy Combs trial.
So she got 10 million, total 30 mil, 20 from him, 10 from the hotel, for sitting there laughing. The specialist, the domestic violence specialist, came in and
updated the people about, what is it called? Trauma fawning, Fawning. I had it up because I was going to read it, but I made a copy, so I'm going to post it in the comment section. The expert did appear today. Did you hear what Gene Deal said also about how it's important for the men to come in and step up for the young women? He really didn't want to talk about it because he got daughters. He also said that Diddy used her as a worker. What did he say? A worker? Something, a sex slave, and something else. It's been good. Let's go.
Coming to an end. We've got Brian Buckmeyer stepping into the shoes of the defense. Bernardo Villalona as the prosecution. Both of you were in court today. But before we get into it, Cassie Ventura's lawyer read a statement for her.
Her husband gave a statement.
This week has been extremely challenging, but also remarkably empowering and healing for me. I hope that my testimony has given strength and a voice to other survivors and can help others who have suffered to speak up and also heal from abuse and fear. For me, the more I heal, the more I can remember. And the more I can remember, the more I will never forget.
I'm curious to hear both of your reactions to that, Bernarda.
She's a survivor.
She's a survivor.
And she's a survivor where you can actually, having done this for so many years, as a prosecutor, when I prosecuted domestic violence and sexual assault cases, you see a lot of women that are broken. And those women that are broken, it takes a lot of courage and a buildup of their self-confidence to be able to, number one, say that they are a victim, number two, to cooperate, and number three, to go forward with the case. And it took a lot of courage for her to do that. And throughout these 4 days on that stand, you saw a woman that is clearly broken, but that has built herself up with therapy and rehabilitation to be able to sit forth and testify against Sean Combs, but also built her life up. And I think where we saw it even more of what she went through is that towards the end of her questioning, when she was asked about the $20 million settlement, she would give it all back for her to be herself again.
Oh, wow.
Everything that Bernardo said, yes. Whenever I sit here, I'm a person of two hats, I think. I think of as a person, I think of as an attorney, as a person. No one's questioning whether or not Cassie's a victim. That's period, right? And I think Bernard and I have seen enough cases as a former prosecutor and a former public defender where we can probably say this is probably one of the more extreme instances of abuse that we've seen in terms of injuries, in terms of her psychology, of how it impacted her, how she even talks about it now. You can still see she's working through it. As an attorney, I think the defense may try to use
She didn't bring up him. She brought up that other guy, G-Rock.
That she is talking about abuse and not trafficking. I hope they don't go there. I can see a reason why they may go there. I think Cassie has done what she needs to do in terms of testifying in this case, and hopefully she can go be a mother,
Don gonna go there,
a person, and no longer a victim, and just move on from this.
All right, let's get into what happened.
Did he say he hoped Don don't go there?
How do you think the defense did?
I think Cassie has done what she needs to do in terms of testifying. Now you can still see she's working through it. As an attorney, I think the defense may try to use that statement in some way, in the same way they've used her past statements, that she is talking about abuse and not trafficking. I hope they don't go there. I can see a reason why they may go there. I think Cassie has done what she needs to do in terms of testifying in this case, and hopefully she can go be a mother, a wife, a person, and no longer a victim, and just move on from this.
All right, let's get into what happened in court today. Brian, how do you think the defense did?
Let's go, Brian. We were both there.
Bernardo laughs because I'm trying to be as polite as possible. I think that the defense is struggling. And I know that a lot of reporting, both on ABC and other places, have talked about meandering. I do not think it is meandering. I think that people who are not attorneys interpret it as meandering, because what is happening is we saw a defense attorney who is not prepared. Either not prepared because she does not have the time to be familiar with this case. And I say that in the sense that we saw just like the rapid, how this team came together. You have to live and breathe a case like this for months, if not years, to really be able to fluidly move through the case. Or this person does not fully understand the rules of evidence to be able to ask a question in a way to land the plane to get that answer that you want that is not objectionable by the judge or the government, or the answer is not objectionable. And we saw so many times getting closer and closer and closer to making the point, and then couldn't ask the question in a way that actually landed the plane and got you what you wanted, and it messed up. And that's a big thing for not only a cross-examination, but if you can't get that ammunition to make an argument at cross-examination, you're not going to have it on summation. And so we can already see there's going to be problems in this case with the defense going forward.
How do you think the prosecution did?
Well, the prosecution really just had to sit there and actually listen to the questions and actually object when they needed to object, and they did. And every time they objected, it threw off that defense attorney. So they did what they needed to do in order to, of course, with their direct examination, they were.
Well, the problem is, based on the girl who was in the court, she's saying that the defense attorneys can't do their job because Diddy is writing down the questions that he wanted them to answer as Cassie. Now here is the attorney. So they can't do their job because he still want to flirt. He still want to make her feel bad about certain things. So they can't cross-examine. They can't do what they had prepared to do because of Diddy. He's still trying to be controlling.
Excellent. But again, this home court advantage when you're talking about direct examination, you know what to ask your witness because you've been prepping with your witness. But I think, and every
to land the plane to get that answer that you want that is not objectionable by the judge or the government, or the answer is not objectionable. And we saw so many times getting closer and closer and closer to making the point, and then couldn't ask the question in a way that actually landed the plane and got you what you wanted, and it messed up. And that's a big thing for not only a cross-examination, but if you can't get that ammunition to make an argument at cross-examination, you're not going to have it on summation. And so we can already see there's going to be problems in this case with the defense going forward.
How do you think the prosecution did?
Well, the prosecution really just had to sit there and actually listen to the questions and actually object when they needed to object, and they did. And every time they objected, it threw off that defense attorney. So they did what they needed to do in order to, of course, with their direct examination, they were excellent. But again, this home court advantage when you're talking about direct
you get raped
examination,
and abused and beat, and you see if that's the money grab. I guess
when I stated before,
hell, you do that to me, I'ma sue you too.
$1 million settlement, like, would you give all of that back?
You play with my life. You can call it what you want to call it.
They did an excellent job with redirecting and bringing the focus right back.
You can call it what you want to call it.
She was a victim.
Keep your hands to yourself. You won't have to break
There's
bread.
no way that someone who
Have the security in your hotel that's supposed to be there instead of catering to Diddy, and you won't get sued.
And I think strategically on one of the questions doing a redirect, she asked, well,
hell, half of y'all are slip and fall in the damn grocery store and won't even be injured and sued. So don't go there with me about people being a money grab. Hell, a lot of y'all took that PPP loan and forged the paperwork and lied and said that you had employees and shit, and you ain't never had a business with no employees. So don't talk to me about a money grab. Yeah, how about that? Y'all done lied on your taxes, filed for claimed a child that wasn't yours. Don't talk to me about no money grab and you ain't got your ass beat. Yeah.
What did you have? I was a sex worker. Objection sustained, but guess what? You can't unring that bell. The jury heard that, and being a sex worker is part of these charges.
Did you lie on your
The
taxes?
prosecutor asked her, this was the question, do you have any financial stake?
Did you get a PPP loan?
Trial.
And she doesn't. She doesn't, because her cases has settled already.
No alleged victim has any financial stake.
I don't listen. Let's be clear. We are not going to attack her. She's a victim, and if you don't think she's a victim, go somewhere else. Do not call it a money grab if you cheat on your taxes. Okay? if you lie to get over, if you took a PPP loan, knowing good and damn well you ain't had no pre-existing business. Okay? Go let somebody beat you, stomp you, and take advantage of you. Okay? That's not what we're going to do over here. Go somewhere else. Go somewhere else. I don't troll.
The financial stake is in the civil lawsuit.
Yes, in the civil
not in the criminal case. So that's a trick question. It's a throwaway, but it's nice to talk about on TV.
You're annoyed by that question.
Yeah, because as a defense attorney, like and an attorney, we all know that you have no financial stake in any financial stake.
If they have a civil lawsuit, they do.
No. But the financial stake is in the civil lawsuit.
Yes, in the civil
not in the criminal case. So that's a trick question. It's a throwaway, but it's nice to talk about on TV.
You're annoyed by that question.
Yeah, because as a defense attorney, like and an attorney, we all know that you have no financial stake in the criminal case.
But wait. During the opening, the whole opening for the defense towards the end
I
of
just
that
want
opening
all
was
you
like,
men
there
who
are
talk about a
millions
money
of
grab. If
reasons
somebody do
for
this to
someone
your
to
daughter,
not
mama,
want to
sister,
with
ain't
charge
cousin,
cooperate.
I want you
That
to
was
still feel the
pretty
same
much
way.
the theme of their case, that it's all about money
And not be
here.
trying to
So
go
when
out and
the
kill
prosecutor
somebody.
asks whether you have any financial gain and she says no, then that's deflating
No.
the balloon.
She has a financial gain, yes, not a financial gain in the criminal case. Those are two different things.
Okay. At the end of the day, this is all going to come down to those 12 jurors and what those 12 jurors think. They're going into the weekend. As the prosecution, what is it that you want them to be thinking about over the weekend?
Well, let's talk about that last witness. That last witness testified that she observed Sean Combs beat Cassie. Take, what was it, a frying pan and threw it at Cassie when he came down in a roar talking about where are my eggs. So that's how they ended the day. That's how they ended the day, where the jury has 48 hours to think about the case. So aside
So
from
that's how
Cassie
Don
having
Richard, that's what her
testified,
testimony
sure,
was.
they tied that up with the Cassie. Take, what was it, a frying pan and threw it at Cassie when he came down in a roar talking about where are my eggs. So that's how they ended the day. That's how they ended the day, where the jury has 48 hours to think about the case. So aside from Cassie having testified, sure, they tied that up with a bow, but having that extra witness, and actually the witness before that talk about the baby oil and stuff like that, and the drugs that they recovered,
And the sex worker
that was recovered
in the
from
beginning.
Diddy's hotel room when he was arrested. When you bring it back again to the violence and how scared Cassie was, because that's what she testified, that Cassie was scared, because remember, we're talking about the coercion and the control. That's a good note to end on.
Is that a good note to end on for the defense?
If you're the defense, I'm hoping that at least 4 or 5 more weekends from now, they forget about this testimony. I'm hoping that the defense, that by the time the comes around, they can't really remember how poorly the cross-examination.
They hope
they
hope
all of the violence.
he hoped that they forget about that.
From now, they forget about this testimony. I'm hoping, if I'm the defense, that by the time summation comes around, they can't really remember how poorly the cross-examination was. They can't really remember all of the violence.
She's just the
And I'm hoping
first who
by then,
done stood
they
up.
start afresh in the summation.
It's always so good to have both of you. Thank you for being here with us, Brian Buckmeyer, Bernardo
said
Villalona. Thank you both.
Coming up,
They
why
bet-
so many people are searching for
Making the band clips of Combs and Danity Kane. Our Kelly Carter has the answer when we come back.
Because they forgot about old Don. But she coming up next over here. Yeah, she the first one that stood up publicly. Kim Porter didn't do it. Aubrey Day tried to. She tried to.
Welcome back.
And Justin Bieber, he got paid off because he going broke, so they done paid him.
Still very active online, which brings us to our segment, Searched, where we break down some of the day's biggest searches tied to the case. Today's biggest search terms include Danity Kane and Lauren London. Kelly Carter joins us now from Los Angeles. She covers entertainment and pop culture for us, so a lot of interest.
Oh boy, yesterday
surrounding Danity
said
Kane
people
members,
came up
including
missing.
Don Richard. Yeah.
What's his
Donna,
name?
of course, was the last person who took
Big homie
the stand
CC.
today. She actually filed her own civil suit the end of last year, where she makes very similar allegations that we saw Cassie make in her own civil lawsuit, and of course, as we see now in the federal courts. But Donna was a member of Danity Kane. We met her on the reality TV Making the Band that aired on MTV, where Diddy was trying to put together a super pop group, and she also was a part of his Diddy Dirty Money group as well, where they toured and did mostly like smaller club dates as opposed to the arenas that she did when she was part of Danity Kane.
And we should also note that Combs denies any allegations in that as well. Now, there were names that surfaced in testimony this week. That was also a big search topic, including Lauren London.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that one out. The best that I've come up with is that she was in that 2016 movie where we talked about a lot, that premiered days after the hotel incident that we all have seen in the video. She also, mentioned a couple of years ago when her longtime partner, Nipsey Hussle, was gunned down, that Sean gave her some really solid advice going into that very public funeral service. Other than that, not quite sure why she's popping up in court.
Tory Lane,
connect the dots
popping up his daddy's
This is an interesting question that
Hold
we're also
on.
seeing out there. What does Cassie do now?
What does she do now? Well, immediately she's going to have a baby and very soon. And I think that in the aftermath of that, we probably, in light of the statement that both she and her husband gave via their attorney, I don't think we should expect her to be on a glossy magazine detailing kind of what her experience was like as a survivor. But we might see her act again. Just a few years ago, she actually had a pretty sizable role in a Christmas movie. It was actually called a hip-hop Christmas movie, believe it or not, where she starred alongside people like MC Lyte and Redman, and that aired on VH1. It was fun. I watched it. I liked it. And maybe we're going to see her do a little bit more acting in the future.
We'll have to wait and see. Kelly Carter, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. We'll be back with new episodes every day of the trial. The show streams right here on ABC News Live, Disney Plus, and Hulu weekdays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. For even more on the Diddy trial, make sure to follow our podcast, Bad Rap, the case against...
Hold on. What's up next? Hold on. What's up next? Yeah, Justin Bieber got paid off. Now he said he ain't never been all of a sudden, he speak out. He ain't never been abused. He don't have no problem. Yeah, if they say he got money problems, so. Hold on. Let's go here. She spoke out. Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
MTV's Making the Band first premiered. The show became... Many of us can remember exactly where we were when MTV's Making the Band first premiered.
I didn't realize Stevie was in it. That was Stevie.
And introduced us to a bunch of talented artists, including New Orleans native Dawn Richard, who appeared on the third iteration in 2005.
Dawn Richard. That is my name. I'm not trying to make it special. That is my father's name's given name. It's my dad's Haitian, my mom's Creole.
Yeah.
Middle name is Angelique. It's not like a gimmick.
She was already signed to a record label, and Sean P. Diddy Combs bought her
She
out
look
of her
manly
contract
now.
prior to her even appearing
She was cute
on the
back
show.
then.
She later became a part of Danity Kane, and we were all rooting for her as she nailed every... Dawn told Pitchfork website that before she was able to stand in line at the Making the Band auditions, she had to sign a contract. And once she made the group, the initial contract she signed carried over. She said, if you made the band, then you just sold your soul. But for a kid coming from nothing,
Oh,
I
wow.
was already aware that my soul was probably being sold. The group released
Y'all hear that?
albums before disbanding.
Dang,
several
did y'all hear
times,
that?
Including in the summer of 2014, when Dawn allegedly punched her group mate, Aubrey O'Day. Soul was probably being sold. she had to sign a contract. And once she made the group, the initial contract she signed carried over. She said, if you made the band, then you just sold your soul. But for a kid coming from nothing, I was already aware that my soul was probably being sold. The group released #1 albums before disbanding several times, including in the summer of 2014 when Dawn allegedly punched her groupmate Aubrey O'Day after a disagreement. She has tried to bring her eclectic music to the masses as a solo artist and has dreams of crossing over like Lady Gaga has. But in several interviews, Dawn has made it clear that when things are going right in her career, there's always something or someone holding her back. Before we find out what really happened to Dawn, be sure to grab something to eat at rgsnacks.com and scoop up a bag of blue raspberry licorice, barbecue turkey jerky, and gummy sour bears. When Diddy decided he wanted to end dirty money so he could focus on other projects, Dawn was willing to stay on Bad Boy as a solo artist.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, Diddy didn't understand her vision. He reportedly told her that the audience wouldn't understand her music because it was too different, and he wanted her to go the Mary J. Blige and Keisha Cole route. Instead of changing herself to fit his mold, she asked to be released from her contract. To this day, she has no resentment toward Diddy. She told the Jasmine brand that he's her homie forever. Moving on from Bad Boy, she met with several labels. In an interview with Rolling Stone magazine, Dawn said she received constant rejections despite releasing several mixtapes that had over 1 million downloads. She told the New York Times she didn't necessarily want to go independent. She liked the money and the help that was associated with being on a major label.
So I wonder,
However,
when did she
had no other options. As she tried to navigate her way as an independent artist, Dawn told 2190 she faced several roadblocks. She added, I was constantly in situations where I had the potential to make millions, and unbeknownst to me, someone just took it from me. I didn't even have the chance to have my hands on it. She had to act as her own PR firm, her own agent, and even her own stagehand. She told The Guardian that in 2016, she realized she couldn't afford to tour with her band, dancers, and a 9-foot neon triangle that formed her stage set. So she decided to save money by building, fixing, and carrying the triangle herself. She would take out her screwdrivers and set it up before the performance and take it down at the end of her set every night. It all paid off though. Her stage design caught the attention of people in the industry, and Dawn said so many doors began to open for her. She eventually got signed to Merge Records in 2021 and released her album Second Line that same year. When asked by 2190 website to describe what comes to mind when she hears the word beauty, Dawn answered, a black woman, period. But that wasn't always her mindset. She admitted that when she was younger, she thought beauty was all about being skinny with European features. She also told the Jasmine brand website that she didn't fully love herself until she turned 30.
Oh, so it's easy to manipulate her too.
Received a lot of criticism, from people talking about her acne to people making jokes about her yellow hair. In an Instagram post, Dawn said that she was always told that she didn't have the right look to be in a pop group. In 2014, she shared an Instagram photo, and many people were baffled by her transformation. Dawn is almost unrecognizable in recent photos, although she refuses to address any alleged procedures she might have undergone.
She looked like a
After
dude.
the release of her 2016 album Redemption, Dawn told the LA Times she got burned out. She was working so hard and spending all of her own money without getting any kind of mainstream recognition. She was performing in front of crowds of 1,000 to 2,000 people and was getting paid no more than $5,000 per performance. After paying the necessary people, including her background dancers, there wasn't much left over. She was so fed up that she decided to put her music on the back burner for a couple of years and pursued an acting career. As the pressures of the industry and possibly reunite with Danity Kane. Let us know if you're shocked by what happened to Dawn Richard.
She dang sure sued Diddy too. Hold on. Yup. She sued him too.
Diddy's ex wrapped up her testimony today after 4 grueling days on the stand. That's Cassie Ventura, who's 9 months pregnant, leaving her home and heading to federal court today. The defense hit her hard during cross-examination, asking her about a stint in rehab for PTSD, a rape allegation, and asking her to read explicit text messages from over the past 15 years. One text message, Cassie writes, "I'm lost without you."
We know now that she called herself Cece for Cassie Combs. We know now that she wanted to have a child with him.
Jurors also heard an audio recording where Cassie could be heard threatening to kill a Diddy associate who had video of one of her freak-offs with Diddy.
The jurors were shocked. I saw the eyebrows raised.
Cassie was asked about receiving a FaceTime from her now husband while she was having sex with Diddy.
I think they're trying to use what they can, again, to discredit her as a witness.
Also on the stand today, Dawn Richard from Danity Kane. Expected in the coming days, Aubrey O'Day, also from Danity Kane, Diddy's personal assistant, and his former employees. But what about Justin Bieber?
He got paid off.
I'm taking this out tonight.
What you want to do? What you want to do over the next 48 hours?
Swimming in some girls.
After videos of Diddy and then 15-year-old Justin went viral.
He knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
The singer was at the center of speculation that he might have been one of Diddy's victims. But his rep tells
He
ET,
was.
quote, "Although Justin is not among Sean Combs' victims, there are individuals who were
Got paid off,
harmed
y'all.
by him. Shifting focus away from this reality detracts from the justice these victims rightfully deserve."
I'm just learning more how to navigate through situations better and how to just be myself.
He got paid off. They say his money funny. They say his money funny. I'm gonna watch you later. Hold on. No, you won't. Not right now. Hold on. I already had things lined up. Hold on. Let's go here, baby, because she was in court today. Hi, Lawrence. Shout out to Tisa.
Today, well, baby, if your name is Sean Diddy Combs, the federal agents have just done their big one with you, and baby, there is no
Please hit the like button.
from that. And when I
Everybody was
I mean
in
absolutely
it
zero.
for the month.
Capiche, coming back. You guys, what am I talking about? They just had
I'm gonna leave.
okay, so
I ain't gonna do that
we
with
are
you.
wrapping up what happened in the Diddy trial.
These
You
people
guys,
who
it
done
was like
gave
it
up,
gets cut off, I'll go live right
been
after. The
drugged,
connection is a little fuzzy, but I have to
and
tell
booty
you
been
all the
touched.
amazing things that actually happened today in the Diddy trial. Diddy thought he had Cassie on the ropes. The prosecutors came back and rehabbed Cassie, but guess what? The federal agent, Don Richard, testified and destroyed Diddy, but also the
Ate his
federal
ass.
agent that testified also destroyed Diddy, and they said what they found at Diddy's time of arrest. Y'all, Diddy looked like he was having free calls while he was in New York. Do you know that they found $9K in cash, and literally, if they showed evidence pictures, a bunch of baby oil and in plastic bags around the bathtub. Y'all, Diddy is an unrepentant monster. How are you under federal investigation for sex trafficking and having free calls? And when the federal agents, y'all, listen, let's get into the evidence, because the stuff they found was crazy. It was crazy, okay, right? So anyway, they had Special Agent Yasin Binda came and testified. I kept seeing him in the elevator. I didn't know exactly what he was there for. If I'd known, I would have tried to corner him. But I don't think they're allowed to make statements to the press. Yes, I am the press. Ahern Pagoda, thank you so much, you guys. We're gonna recap everything that happened in the Diddy trial. Everything you missed. I was live from the court. Okay. I had to run out because my battery was on low, so I had to plug up on the charger to actually go live with y'all. But y'all, let's get into this, right? First of all, They found, at the time Diddy was arrested, he had bags of Tucci, piles of E. There was evidence, pictures. There was piles of baby oil, everything all over the place. He had his hotel room looking like a freak off. And get this, he was, let me get into my notes. You know, there was also a young lady that was found in the room with them. And I only got one message to that young lady. You better lawyer up. You better squabble up. Honestly, because at the end of the day, here's what they found on him. Hold on, we're going to get into everything. But this is what they found on him. They found $9K in cash. They found bottles of baby oil and Ziploc bags all over the place. Bottles of lube and Ziploc bags all over the place. They're saying that Diddy had a party or a freak off the night before. There were piles of Tucci, piles of E, all the stuff Cassie said that Diddy used on her. There were piles, and I gotta say this, right?
So he's still doing it.
That female in the hotel was, you better lawyer up, because what you were found with was a huge federal crime, and if they can't stick that, if you don't flip on Diddy, they're gonna put those charges on you. But let's get into this, right? So Agent Benda said, let me get my notes. He works for Homeland Security and the Human Trafficking Group.
Y'all got y'all tea?
He's also in the Crisis Negotiation Group, okay? They served all the subpoenas in the Diddy case. So they talked to all the victims, all the things, everything, right? Now, just to let you guys know, if you didn't see my lives earlier, go check them out. I run out in courtroom and give you guys up-to-minute date. But the interesting thing about this is,
you look like a whale.
She gave good tea.
That's what I heard from my mother-in-law while I was in the pool on my birthday.
Shout out to
About
Tasty.
45 days ago.
we don't know who the co-conspirators are yet because Diddy does for the enterprise letter. However, the federal prosecutors have to give a witness list to the judge by Sunday at 5 p.m. It'll probably be made available to the public Monday or Tuesday. The feds have been very clear and very right. If you are not a cooperating witness, you are a co-conspirator. If you are a co-conspirator, you will get hit with a lot of things.
Cooperating witness.
Right? So anyway.
Did y'all hear that?
What's his role?
If you are not a cooperating witness, you are, what she say?
Crisis Negotiation Group, okay? They served all the subpoenas in the Diddy case. So they talked to all the victims, all the things, everything, right? Now, just to let you guys know, if you didn't see my lives earlier, go check them out. I run out in courtroom and give you guys up-to-minute date. But the interesting thing about this is we don't know who the co-conspirators are yet because Diddy does for the enterprise letter. However, the federal prosecutors have to give a witness list to the judge by Sunday at 5 p.m. It'll probably be made available to the public Monday or Tuesday. The feds have been very clear and very right. If you are not a cooperating witness, you are a co-conspirator. If you are a co-conspirator,
okay.
You will get hit with a lot of things that Diddy gets hit with, right? So anyway, here was his role. And they showed it in court. He took photographs of all the items found, right? And then he signed them onto a Form 6051, okay? Get this. They showed what was found in Diddy's closet. They tried to hide it in the closet. This is not the raid of his mansions. This is when he was in Midtown getting arrested. Remember, he was in Midtown acting like he was a liable and a citizen. He had $9K in cash. You know that was for the escorts, in my opinion, because that's why else would you have $9K in cash? And on top of that, right, in the closet, there were plastic bags full of Johnson & Johnson baby oil and Astroglide bottles. It looked like, honestly, there was like 10 bottles of lube and like 10 or 15 bottles of baby oil, right? Get what they found in the bathroom. They also found around the bathtub several bottles of baby oil. Diddy was in the Intercontinental, I think that's where he was arrested, hotel in New York City, still either having freak-offs or get it when they found him. Also, there were pictures in the bedroom, right? And guess what was found? There was a Louis Vuitton bag. Guess what was found in the bedroom, right? There was medication, right? Because they had prescription, they had pills, you know, perk. It was somebody's name was named Frank Black. Now, we do not know if that's an alias. We do not know if that's a real person. We do know that the doctor supplying Diddy with all these pills literally needs to be on trial too, right? There's also in the picture huge, not just a bag, but bags of a pink powder that was found in a medicine bottle, okay? Now, It was found, they did test it, okay, by Customs and Border Patrol lab, and the pink powder was found to be ketamine in an MDMA bottle. So Diddy, as much as he wants to try to paint Cassie as the freak of the week, as far as he wants to start painting Cassie as the problem, baby, they found little piles and bottles of Tucci. Diddy's the addict. Cassie got clean. Cassie's living her life. Diddy is the addict. Y'all, listen, this was a comical end to what has gone down to as, I feel like Diddy was on a roller coaster. I'm not going to lie, because y'all know I'm going to be non-biased. You know I ride out for victims. You know I ride out for Cassie. But when somebody has a bad day, I don't care if they're on my team or not, I'm going to call it how I see it, because I want y'all to actually get my take, right? I don't want to be biased. I'm rooting for the devil to go down, but I got to tell you, if our team is up 20 or down 20, this afternoon was not good for Cassie before break. They made her look like she was crazy. They made her look like she was manipulative. They made her look like she was a liar. However, the feds came back after break and said, baby, I'll show you who the liar manipulator is. And literally, completely, if you don't think that she completely rehabilitated Cassie's image and brought her back in the eyes of the jury, at the very least, they nullified all of the damage that Diddy's team had done. Because before, when they were tripping her up on dates and her messages being like, oh my God, I love you, this and that, everybody was like shaking their head and not liking it. But by the end of the prosecution redirect, right? People were looking concerned. They were listening to Cassie again. They literally nullified the poison that Diddy did. But Diddy was up and arrogant. And even all his sons were getting excited. And I would have been too, because it really looked like they completely discredited Cassie. However, the prosecution came back, asked Cassie the questions that needed to be asked. I'll get into that in a second. And her image was rehabilitated. And then things got bad to worse. And then they called in the special agent that had made the arrest. And he told us about when we arrested him in the Intercontinental Hotel. This fool had bottles and bottles of lube and baby oil in the closet, $9K cash, and there was MDMA and Tucci and everything, piles of it all over. We saw the pictures. Ayana said, Tisa, you're doing your thing in these streets. Thanks for all the amazing coverage and candid feedback. Please stay safe. You welcome, you welcome, you welcome. Oh, also really quick, Gaddis50 said, is Diddy sleeping with those men too? Listen. Also, Life Lessons and Lions said, thank you, Tisa. Diddy made her call him Pop Pop. That's after he knew that that's what she called her grandfather. That's it. Hibiscus Rose, thank you so much for the super chat. Okay, so y'all, let's get back into what was
her big daddy
in Diddy's house when he got arrested, in the hotel room when he got arrested. This man is unrepentant. This man is unrepentant, okay? And then we're going to get into Dawn's testimony.
Big daddy.
Dawn's
Pop,
testimony was,
pop.
Too good. Aaron Pagadan. Thank you. Pagaduan, thank you so much for the generous super chat. You said, I love your energy. You're like my best friend at work that I don't know about. That's right. Thank you for the updates. Mill is on me. Oh my God. Thank y'all so much. Y'all know I'm out here in New York. Gotta pay for security, paying for event. Listen, this is expensive. I'm not gonna lie, I do appreciate all your funding, but I do want to say that this is also a love letter for y'all. I know sometimes I don't celebrate when I get to 100, 200, 300. I know when I got to 500,000, I didn't have a celebration. But this is my love letter to you guys that on my own money, I financed this trip, got security, got everything, and came out here because I wanted to actually bring this around for y'all full circle.
Shout out to you.
Do you know what I'm saying? I mean,
shout out
for
to
myself
you,
too, because I'm nosy. But just to be out here and back for y'all. So you guys take this as my love letter to y'all. Don't forget to turn on notifications, like, subscribe. Turn on your notifications. This weekend, we are doing a breakdown. We're going to get the charges, see what conditions have to met, and I'm going to pour through my 4 notebooks full of notes from all this week to actually say, we're going to do a fantasy football game. Given the evidence that we see today, and this isn't going to be anything that's mixed from mainstream media or anything distorted by Diddy's PR people paying the bogs, right? We're going to do that, and we're going to see, okay, is it, right now, did he meet the criteria? Will he get convicted? Because I want to break everything down. Forget these headlines about Cassie being a ho-ho-ho. And Alex Fine put out a statement and said, y'all better, like, Cassie saved Cassie, and I'm right there by her side. I love the fact that they are now a young, rich, beautiful family, and he announced that they're having a son. I know that's right. Thank you so much for the super chat, Meg. Also, I want to say, Maisha Capel, thank you for being a member for 7 months. You said keep up the great job. And Parallel Jen, thank you so much for the super chat. I really, 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 really appreciate it. Okay, so let's get back into this. What else happened? 1 second. Okay, so they said that, I'm looking at my notes. Okay, so there was pink powder Tucci all over the place. They showed the pictures to us. There was an MDMA bottle. They said that, let's see. They said they passed around pictures also. A black mini backpack with $9,000 in cash, right? They also, listen, he also chose the little backpack with $9K in cash. The judge said, the U.S. Attorney's Office was like, yo, take that cash out of the bag. And they did, and they was waving the cash in. They were waving the cash in the courtroom. What was Diddy doing with $9K in cash? Who was he trying to pay off? What was he doing? I think, judging by the 10 bottles of lube, 10 bottles of baby oil, the MDA, and the Tucci, and all that stuff, I truly believe that I truly believe that Diddy either had a freak. I've heard that Diddy had either a party the night before, i.e. a freak off, or he was planning to have another one because he had all his supplies at the Intercontinental. Hold on, Diddy and Court. I'm just changing the title real quick. 1 second, and then let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, hold on 1 second. Okay, let's get back into this. So anyway, he took the cash out and waved his hands in the air. He took the cash out the bag and he was fanning out all the bills like, I got 100. What's doing this? Let's do that, right? Also, Tenny Garagos got up there and she was like, in the hotel room, did you see any bags or clothing indicating that a woman was staying with them there? Get this, whoever that woman was in the hotel room, you better get yourself a lawyer. Diddy's team is about to pin this on you. Listen to what Tenny said. The agent was like, yeah, there was a woman there. They said there was a woman there. Hold on really quick. Let me send, I'm back. Sorry, I had to send myself some notes, but I'm back. Okay, let's get also into what actually happened on this stuff, right? So Special Agent Binda testimony. He's been in Homeland Security for 5 years, human trafficking, domestic and international. He does crisis negotiations. He delivered all the subpoenas in this case, so you probably know where Gina hiding, right?
So Gina is the witness that's hiding.
Search warrants of the houses, the apartments, the brothels, whatever. So it wasn't the Intercontinental. When Diddy got arrested outside of the Park Hyatt in Manhattan, okay, he's the one that booked all the arrest data, and he saw him. Diddy was staying in room 2115, right? It's a south corner room. It was room 2115 in the Park Hyatt. Y'all, I do want to say this. If you stay in the Park Hyatt, don't stay in room 2115 because ain't no good going to come from that.
At Firestone Complete Auto Care, we believe that if you can't back the work, you shouldn't be doing it. That's why our break-in...
Because ain't no good going to come from that. Okay, let's get back into this also. Hold on, y'all. Let's get into this. Also, it happened at about... So they arrested him, right? They arrested him at 2B133. That was the entrance by the Park Hyatt Hotel, located in Manhattan. So after they arrested him at approximately 11:30 p.m. that night, they conducted a search. They showed us the pictures too. Diddy got to be crazy trying to paint Cassie like she's the addict and turn him out when Cassie's clean and Diddy's still the one. Anyway, they said that they cleared the room. They took video. They pre-recorded. They took video, they searched everything, they followed protocol, and it was littered It was littered with disregarded items like baby oil, Tucci, all this other stuff, right? Now they show photographs they marked as evidence. They took pictures, right? And the items that were found are going to kill you. Bags, suitcases, the one little mini backpack full of money, right? But they bought the items in for processing because if you guys don't know, whenever there's a federal search, they have to bring the items in for processing. What does that mean? You look at something, you're like, look like Tucci. Diddy look zonked out. They're doing the shakes in the thing, right? Diddy look zonked out. It looks like Tucci. It probably is some type of rugs, right? But before they can pin that on you, they have to go and get like the actual testing. So they sent it to actual testing. Really quick. Lily said he was probably with Carisha in the hotel when he was arrested. He was in a freak off or getting ready for one. Somebody said they had a party in the room the night before. I remember reading that a long time ago from all my sources. It said that Diddy had a party in his room the night before. Music Lover, thank you so much for the super chat. Designed by Phoebe said, poor Cassie, I'm going to do a live on Stockholm Syndrome from my experiences. Please do. You guys follow Designed by Phoebe so you can see that live. Mary Serena, thank you so much. You said coffee on me. Thanks for providing the tea. Thank you. Also, Ram, what's up? Welcome to the chat. Thank you so much for the super chat. And S. Rastafari, thank you so much. You said blessed. Thank you so much. Ren Wesley said, Tisa girl, you put in the work and giving us the real info. Thanks for keeping it.
Yeah, shout out to Tisa.
Wait till I get to Dawn's testimony. Diddy is going to jail. And let me tell you something. Dawn looks so pretty walking in. So pretty. She had on this like Callaway check suit. I'm not even trying to clown her, but in the best way possible. She walked in there on a mission. I felt wind go through my hair. She was on a mission. And when she got on that stand,
Dawn.
she got to testify. Then everybody tried to stare her down. Dawn put her head back, cocked her back, swung her hair over her shoulder, and sashayed out of there on some power walk.
Her attorney.
Better tell the truth and shame the devil. But the testimony Dawn gave is going to shock you. So Meg said, thank you for keeping us informed. You're doing amazing and you look beautiful. Oh, thank y'all. I woke up so late today. I really appreciate y'all. Thanks for hyping me up. Lovely Blue Rose, thank you so much for the super chat. Also, I want to give a shout out to DG. Thank you for the super chat. Oh my God. Miss T said, hey Tisa, yay. You doing the Lord's work. Do you know, will they call Brendan to the stand? They absolutely. Brendan got a plea deal. I know a lot of people were saying that Brendan, Diddy's alleged mule, got like this little, he went into a rehabilitation program. The feds don't give you that unless you actually flip on whoever. Donna W said, girl, I'm a fan for life. You're doing a fabulous job. Fox Soul should have gotten you. Yo, shout out to Claudia Jordan and Fox Soul. Claudia Jordan's
they had no more parties in Hollywood.
STL Sportsman said, thank you for bringing us the news. Be careful. Y'all, listen, I am being careful. Don't worry, but thank y'all. Okay. So they bought it in for processing, okay? The items were seized, their location, and what was actually in them, okay? Now, the entrance to the hotel room, 2115, when you go into the entrance, and these were the pictures they showed us, there's a hallway closet, right? There's also an open space, right? Which is kind of like a foyer. You see seating, there was TVs, there was like a couch, there was all this stuff. Teresa the World said, go girl, from one YouTuber to another. I salute your grind. Y'all make sure you start following Teresa the World too. Teresa of the World, y'all. There's enough money for everybody to eat on YouTube, and I want to build a community. Then they showed pictures of the bedroom and the bathroom. So they
shout out to Tisa, she ain't no hater.
Right? So there was Astroglide and baby oil all over the place in the closet and in the bathroom. And No G70, thank you so much for the super chat. And there was a hard drive, and there was an Astroglide and baby oil found in, I think, either the hallway or the bedroom closet, and there was a hard drive found in the hallway closet. Okay, now there was also KK's cell phone. KK's cell phone was seized. This is when Diddy got arrested. KK's cell phone was seized. And there was mood lighting and lighting for the freak-offs. Did not Cassie say that Diddy liked having freak-offs? First it was like candles, and then he got into the red light. There was mood lighting and lighting devices so Diddy could light his freak-off. Miss Dawkins, thank you for joining the Tattle Talks family. Now, you guys, okay, I saw the pictures in court. Do you know what I think is so funny? Everybody out here defending Diddy, and Cassie can't do no right, and Diddy can't do no wrong. And listen, I am 100% on Cassie's side.
And
I
this
actually
was the
think
day he
they
got
should have
arrested,
gotten some
y'all.
models or actresses
He was
or
finna have
whatever,
another freak out.
to be on that jury duty. Designed by Phoebe. Thank you so much for becoming a title.
He was about to have a whole
And here's
nother
my point.
freak
I was
out.
talking to- She is a counselor for victims of abuse, Sade, and she said that unless you live the life of someone, you cannot pass judgment.
Oh, yeah,
But it's
hold
more
on.
than that. When somebody sees an incredibly beautiful woman or incredibly wealthy man,
Hold on. I do need to say this though, because yeah, I wanna give a shout out to especially my tea sippers, to my tea sippers who have survived domestic abuse, any form of how can I say it? Any type of abuse, trafficking, forced solicitation of your body, you know, anything in that manner, you know, you have my prayers. Shout out to you for surviving. Hang on in there, get you some treatment, recover, you know, do what you need to do to heal. Yeah, shout out to you. And don't let nobody make you feel bad for the things in life that you've experienced. I don't care who it is. They ain't live your life. They don't know nothing about that life. So shout out to you for surviving.
Tend to believe that their lives are a certain way, that they have everything easy, that this, that, and the third. And we tend to believe that. And because Cassie is so breathtakingly beautiful, because she was beautiful at a young age, I think that there is a certain type of abuse that beautiful, 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 extremely beautiful young woman face that a lot of people might not be hip to. And let me just tell y'all what it is, right? And most women, I think, know this, but when you're extremely, like Cassie level beauty, from a young age, you see it. Men will keep you around as an idol. You will really get objectified. Someone will date you for years and have you as their plus friend, and everybody swear they love you down, and they can't stand your ass. But you are, the same way they got the new Rolex watch, you are their new show pony. You are their piece. It's an objectification that only people, I think, that are models or in the record, like, they experience. It doesn't mean that everybody else doesn't experience objectification. It means there's a certain type that only women that look like Cassie can understand and sympathize. And there's a certain way you have to move in the world. And there's a certain way you're preyed on, especially by older rich men, that you have to be there to actually experience. Swim Blue Water, thank you so much for the super chat. That's just my opinion. And I actually got that from Sade, who actually explained why when you are a victim of domestic violence, the more attractive you are and the more people perceive you as having privilege that's undeserved, the less people are to be like, well, you was just a gold digger, that's what you get.
Yep.
Because they don't understand how they too are a victim because it looks so glamorous from the outside. Nia said, love watching your glow up. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much. Also, Valentine TV said, y'all go follow Valentine TV. He's a content creator also, and I've been with you forever because you see what others miss. Thank you, Valentine TV. Make sure y'all go follow Valentine. Prophetess Aaliyah S. Brew, Body of Christ, welcome to the Tattletale family. And Helen Titus said, thank you for bringing us the real for years. In this case, your willingness to extend for us will be rewarding big time. Oh, thank y'all. You just crossed over. Watch your inbox for important contacts soon. I'm going to keep my eye on it. Swimwear to Blue, thank you for gifting a membership. Each one. Okay, so let's get back into this, right? So there was the Astro guy. They got KK's cell phone, and they had the mood lighting and everything. Y'all, Diddy's attorneys tried to paint Cassie as literally, it was like, the rehab you went to, literally, they thought they ate. It was like, so you went to rehab? And Cassie's like, yes, I did. And they're like, and did you see what Sir?
Hey, Vicky. I'm glad you're feeling better. Hey. I hate that you had to go through that. I will keep you lifted. Bless you. Mwah.
This rehab offered, and she was like, well, I read it, but there was a lot of pressing things, so I didn't read everything they had. And she's like, well, you left your 2 kids at home, so I would assume you knew what the rehab had. And I was just like, yeah, or maybe she was trying to get clean and she wasn't reading it. Those that she loved found that place for her.
Emergencies can strike at any time. That's why it's crucial to be prepared.
Clean, and she wasn't reading it. Those that she loved found that place for her. And I was like, where are they going with this? Why are they trying to set this up? This is getting weird, right? But this whole case has been weird. So here's what they tried to do. They were like, listen, here's what they tried to do. They were like, so you know that also they do stuff for sex addiction, love addiction, all this stuff. And Cassie was like, okay, so what would you, sorry, they were like, so let me take these off, get comfortable. They were like, so what were you being treated for? And Cassie was like, I wasn't being treated for any of this. Let me tell you something about narcissists. They are masters of projection. Why is that important? Because in court today, baby, I saw all the projection. They tried and failed to paint Cassie as a drug addict, sex addict, right? Mm-hmm. That was their goal. However, you know who actually, next time the federal agents got on, that's what I'm reading, Diddy got exposed. You are the sex addict, sir.
Absolutely.
Because how is it that the whole world is watching you? You got 99 problems, and your side B's are one, right? You got 99 problems.
The day
right?
he was
you got all this stuff going on.
got arrested, he was finna have a freak out.
Weirdo freak. The feds are breathing down your neck. You are in New York.
It was probably one of those sex slaves, ex-slaves.
And you got the nerve to literally have bottles of baby oil in a hotel you got arrested in. And literally, and they found piles of MDM, piles of Tucci, bottles of baby oil and lube. Do you know what type of addict you have to be that even when the world is daring you to make another move, you end up talking about some hotel holiday? And you know how crazy you have to be.
If your friends start acting up, then you take her
Diddy
friend.
also tried the babyification in trial, trying to act like, everybody knew I was an addict, because they was asking Cassie, so you're saying everybody around him knew he was an addict? And Cassie was like, everybody knew him to take drugs. Oh, so you're trying to say that this and that? But it's like, it doesn't work out. How are you saying this man was so turned out, but yet he was micromanaging his empire? He was building a $1 billion empire. He was building out Revolt, making public appearances, doing TV shows, making a comeback album. You cannot say that somebody was just so high out their mind they didn't know what they were doing when they're doing all this stuff on the side. It's not making sense. And Cassie sat on the stand and said, I felt like Diddy made excuses. I feel like every time he wanted to beat me, he said he was high, and I just had to let it go. Also, Fear No Mortals parlay that said, you're so detailed and better than everyone. Oh, thank you. I was reporting on this. As a content creator, I appreciate the ones who give accurate info. Fear, you guys, make sure you check out Fear No Mortals parlay. Also, let's support other YouTubers. Aquarius Vibe 123 said the greatest job. Thank you so much. Oh,
Thank you,
also,
Vicky.
Ravens Riot said, I think this will show that the prevalent behavior and abuse against women is on all levels of society. Cross-examination will show his evil personality, and I predict he will show his evilness to the world. He will. I know he tried to do that to Cassie.
I'm looking at some my T-sippers to see.
About Diddy been following
they got some abusive ways.
Jonathan Addl intro. Keep it coming. Stay safe.
I'm
Mark
trying to see if that's
Agnafilio, Yana. Also, Phoenix Woman said, totally correct as to the objectification of beautiful, talented, successful women. People can't understand unless they've lived it. High-value women are targets for narcs. They are. Keep up the incredible work. High value, I don't even want to say high value, but I get what you're saying, but women that people consider either extraordinary, beautiful, extraordinary, smart. Like if you just have something that makes you shine, you are a beacon for narcissists. Jen said, hey, I'm running late, but I did hear earlier about how folks are picking Cassie's grape apart. I can say that from experience of being date grape, love can confuse us. Listen, those folks that are doing this, baby, they don't know, or they don't want to know, that are picking Cassie apart, because honestly, it didn't do anything, because the feds rehabilitated everything she's saying. Ren De La Cruz said, I had to tell my man, I be on Tisa time. Love you, girl. That's right, Ren. You better tell your man. Tell him to start circulating this live. Teresa Whitehill Marshall said, thank you, Tisa, for a phenomenal job. And also, Sass Bridges said, Diddy thought he was untouchable. Tisa, every time Diddy sees you in court, he squirms to this seat. You are amazing. He don't be squirming, but he be doing, I don't know, Diddy is a odd one. And I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, so there's more, right? They also said that, hold on, really quick. Let me get this out. Hold on, really quick. I have my notes up. We are doing the big one. Okay, so they described that. Hold on, I have more notes. I just transferred them to my computer so I can read them on the screen. Ask your guys, baby, well, you already know about that. This is a good one. Okay, so anyway, they found all that stuff in his bedroom. When I say there were piles of everything, it literally didn't make any damn sense at all. You said, Tisa, great work. You're at the top of, thank you, at the tip of your breakthrough. Content creator here. What's up, Maverick Me? Y'all make sure y'all go check out Maverick Me. Also, Nina Benson, thank you so much for the super chat. Okay, so listen, let's get into, again, the female in the hotel, mark my words, the fact that Kenny Garrett goes, because the special agent was like, yeah, we found all these rugs and stuff like this, mood lighting, all this stuff prepared for a freak off in this hotel, and we found a female in there too. They were like, and she was like, was a female found? And they were like, yeah. And she was like, oh, they're going, that woman, you better get a lawyer. Diddy's going to try to spend all that money, all those rugs and all that on you. The same way he's trying to blame Cassie. Diddy is a demon. Ariel, he's king of the roaches. Ariel said, I didn't mean it like that.
Oh, wow.
I meant like the way he's a survivor. I didn't mean to. I mean, I'm black, but still, I don't want to be calling another black person a roach. Let me take that back. I didn't mean it like that. Anyway, Ariel said, I saw you on someone's YouTube live. I know I spammed your YouTube in the chat. Oh, no. Thank you so much. Also, Shaka Lee, thank you so much for the super chat. And Mochi, thank you for the super chat. Okay, so listen, y'all. Let's get into what Dawn did. Because when I tell y'all, Dawn destroyed Diddy on the stand. Destroyed that man. And baby, we love to see it. Okay? Now, here's the thing. Dawn Richards came in on a mission. Do I have any juice left? Hold on really quick, y'all. Hold on. Really quick. Well, we family now. Y'all can see my messy room. Hold on really quick. I got to grab something.
Because he definitely pimped her out too. He pimped out Dawn.
I got the craziest headache. The craziest. Okay.
That's all
so,
right.
Hold on. One more second. I woke up so late today, and I got the craziest headache. I'm gonna get this out, right? I'm gonna get this out, okay? Hold on.
The sweetest moments deserve the boldest flavors, like our new concrete mixers and lemon ice coolers made with fruity Skittles pop.
Okay, so anyway, Dawn Richards, baby, she came to war. She came to war. I got a headache and just took, what do you call it? Claritin. I don't know why I'm having an allergic reaction to something. I think it's something I ate for lunch. Anyway, right? Dawn Richards said that they were over at Diddy's house. They were filming the Dirty Money album, or recording the Dirty Money album. So Diddy made them stay in the house, okay? And she said she had just met Cassie. She barely even knew Diddy. And Cassie was in the kitchen cooking eggs, right? Now, mind you, it was at nighttime. He was cooking eggs for dinner. She was cooking breakfast for dinner, you know? But it was nighttime, and she was making eggs for Diddy because that's what he wanted, right? Diddy was on the top level of the house. It was a multi-level house. I don't know if this is his actual abode or if he was just running around, right? They said Diddy came down angry, out the blue for no reason. He was just angry. Okay? He then went over to Cassie while she was cooking the eggs, while the girls were sitting in the kitchen watching her, and was like, damn, you never get anything right. And Cassie was like, what? Diddy then picked up the skillet with hot oil in it and eggs fried and tried to hit Cassie in the head with it. Now, she said the whole thing didn't hit Cassie, but a part of the thing hit Cassie, right? Then they were like, they said, he tried to hit Cassie with the skillet and eggs. And they were like, he only got her with like a piece of it. And they're like, and what did Cassie do? She fell to the ground to avoid being hit. So he would have gotten her whole head in if she hadn't been so quick. She said she fell to the ground. She went straight into a fetal position. She did not try to fight Diddy. She did not try to use force. She was just in a straight fetal position. Dawn actually said that it seemed like this wasn't her first rodeo. That she knew that whenever Diddy did, she just had to run. And she said she just remembers Cassie on the floor trying to protect her face. Trying to protect her face, right? Trying to protect her face.
Wow.
She seemed like she had done this too often and she was too quick, right? And then when she was on the ground in a fetal position protecting her face, mind you, there was no argument. Cassie was in a good mood. Diddy just came downstairs mad for no reason. We'll talk about Diddy and the psychological stuff, about the way he feels the need to publicly abuse women. It makes me think, what has he seen in his life? Hold on, y'all, commercial break. E. Burnett, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you so much. Also, I want to give a shout out to, if I don't get them down, I miss the super chats, and I'm honoring them.
I told you it's generational.
282 said you are so good to us, T, so we love you. I love y'all. I really honestly do.
I told you it's generational.
Stephanie Chilamingo said, T, you were going to tell us a story about Wolf yesterday. I can't believe Wolf's son doesn't do a DNA test. Listen, I think Justin just looked like his mama. Here's what y'all need to realize, right? I actually thought about it. I don't think that Justin is Wolf's son because Diddy tried his best not to ever pay Misa a penny of child support. I believe that Misa looks like a female version of Wolf. Now clock that T. Wolf was Diddy's best friend, right? He was a very handsome man, right? Misa, the girl he was with that allegedly he was out Diddy stomping and treating her like Cassie. I think that Justin looks so much like Wolf because Misa looks like a girl version of Wolf in the face, and I think that's what Diddy liked. Now clock that T. Anyway, right? That's just my opinion. Anyway, let's get back into the story. So when we last left her, Cassie was cooking eggs. Diddy came downstairs. You'll never do anything right. Picked up the hot skillet. It is frying with oil and eggs in it, and tried to hit Cassie in the head with it while Dawn and Kalina are watching. Cassie, she clipped Cassie in the head a little bit, but Cassie was too quick and she dropped to the floor and she was in the fetal position and she was trying to guard her face. Diddy didn't care. He raised his feet and started stomping her. He started to punch and kick her body and her head. All right? Then, out of everything, then he reached down. They say he wrapped his hands all in Cassie's hair and dragged her up the steps by her hair. She said that she was scared. She said at that point she was scared for Cassie and also for herself. She said she didn't call the police. She said she was so in shock. She never saw anything like that. She said all she heard was glass breaking and a bunch of yelling and shouting from Diddy and Cassie being beat up to a pulp.
Oh, wow.
He was beating Cassie to a pulp. They heard it upstairs with things breaking, commotion, people begging for him to stop. Cassie begging for him to stop, right? She said she didn't call the police because she saw the way he was beating Cassie like a wild animal, and she was scared that if she stepped in, she might actually get worse than what Cassie was getting. All right? Now, after that was over, this is groundbreaking testimony. Again, when I say that Cassie is not the star witness, she was the star witness to us because we know Cassie. But, baby, we were only 4 or 5 days into the trial, and they haven't even gotten to all the witnesses. Please. Bravo to Sheila Network said, you're doing your thing. You have the YouTube streets buzzing.
Wow.
Thank you so much. So listen what happened. So then after that, Diddy called Dawn and Kalina to the studio because he wanted to discuss what happened. Now, if you thinking he apologized, if you thinking he had no. What did he do? He doubled down into extra weirdo behavior. Get this. Phoenix Coleman said, this is the hope. This is the I hope Diddy rots in hell button. The whole dropping into a fetal position has me hot. Definitely not a real man. And the fact that he was stomped in her face while it was going on, y'all, I just can't. So anyway, right? So after that, Dawn and Kalina were scared. Dawn literally said she feared that something really, really bad happened to Cassie. 23 said, next time Diddy screw faces you, you give him one back for me. I became a member today. You deserve all your viewers to be a member. Thank you so much, 23. Anyway, right? They said that there was so anyway, how did Diddy get past this? By being a certified weirdo, and he doubled down. And this is what Mark Agnifoli was arguing, that Dawn shouldn't continue her testimony because he was big mad. Sue Lee Buchanan said, Tisa, thank you for keeping me company on my 11-hour drive to Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. Keep doing your thing. I know that's right. Stay away from them sundown towns. I'm just saying. So anyway, after that happened, he called Kalina and Dawn into the studio because he wanted to discuss what happened. He called them into the studio. The studio was dark. He called them into a dark studio and then locked the studio door. He locked them in the studio with him. Dawn and Kalina were like, what is going on, right? That was bad enough. So then he locked the door. And then he literally sat them and said, yo, what you saw back there is what passion in a relationship looks like. That's when people truly care about each other, the way they go, what they do, and the way they act. That ain't nothing but love that you just saw in the kitchen. These girls saw this little girl out the blue, happy as can be, making her man some eggs, trying to be the dutiful girlfriend because Diddy just felt like it. And Diddy got a problem. If you remember like, I think Cheyenne Roundtree and Nancy Dillon did a great expose in the Rolling Stones, and if you remember all that stuff that happened, right? Diddy has this weird habit where out the blue, to establish his dominance, he always has to beat the woman he's with for no reason, so everybody sees his dominance, and he does it out of the blue. Also, really quick, I want to give a shout out to Lovely Blue Rose, said, been here since day one, Cassie went public. It's a blessing to watch you grow. Thank you. Time for your Image Award nomination. And they gonna have you on the screen acting a fool. Shaka Lee said, yes, Justin looked just like his dad, Wolf. Maybe he was conceived during one of them swing session free calls. Listen, the way Diddy fought not to pay child support to Justin, baby, oops. Hold on, what's going on? Can y'all see me? Hello? Can y'all hear me? What's going on with my live stream? Can y'all see and hear me? I need to know. Because I can't see and hear y'all. Something's going on. You can't see or hear me? Hold on.
Yeah, she don't went black.
Can y'all hear me now? You can hear me? Damn. Should I go on a new live or just...
When it comes to ideas for your bath project, you have options within options at Floor & Decor.
At Freddy's, we put a little extra effort into every steak burger we make. The brisket and our new barbecue brisket.
Nicole Fisher said, girl, who got better tea? I'm nobody. We're here for it. Only person I'm listening to. You blowing up and I'm here to support. Thank y'all. Also, KG said, great job, T. Said, did Cassie really say that Nicki Minaj told her to deal with the abuse? No. Also, Chandra said, 35 months of rocking with you, sis, and you're still spilling the best and most accurate tea on this YouTube street. Your integrity and humor is unmatched. Thank y'all so much. Also, I want to give a shout out to Cognoman for gifting 5 memberships. Oh my God. Also, I want to give a shout out to Camille Bell. Thank you so much for the super chat. And also, hold on. I want to give a shout out to Jamie L. Hickman. Thank you for saying I am awesome. I appreciate all of you guys. Listen, okay. So anyway, then he told them where I'm from, people go missing. Then when they were looking up shocked, like missing, he's like, but don't worry, I'm taking y'all straight to the top. We going straight to the top. So don't worry about what you saw, but make sure you keep your mouth shut about it because, baby, we can handle that too, right? Then when that was all over and they were like, what is going on? And Dawn was like, where is Cassie? Like, what the hell? Then all of a sudden, Diddy gave Dawn and Kalina flowers. After all that, So you take them into a dark studio, lock the room, explain to them that that's what real love looks like, what you just did to Cassie, right? Dawn said she's never seen anything like that happen in her life. She's never been so scared. Then you say, but if you do open your mouth, where I'm from, people go missing. Then you tell them that, but don't worry, they going straight to the top as long as they know how to act right and keep their mouth shut. And then you gave them flowers. Y'all, it was a whole mess. Potters of Color podcast. What's that say? Grace and gratitude, T said, you are fabulous. Thank you. And Camille Bell already said thank you, but thank you again. Thank y'all so much. Oh, also really quick, Lady Mob said I went live. Wait, the live went out because of what I said. No, it did. Pam Bassett said, T said, can you please mean mug again? I'm nominating you for an Emmy Award. Just mean mugging. And they're just like, oh my God, like security. I would have been so, Serenity T said you're doing your thing of being unbiased. Also, Honeybee Therapy, thank you so much for the super chat. Miss Andrea said, great work, Tisa. Keep the likes up for Tisa, please. And Honeybee Therapy, thank you for another super chat. So anyway, get this. Around that time, Dawn was like, and guess what else? She was ready to tell more. But then that's when the defense objected, right? Because they didn't want Dawn on the scene in the first place. They thought Dawn was a very, very bad look. So they didn't want Dawn on the scene. So the defense was like, Your Honor, the judge said, let's have a sidebar. The defense started arguing that Dawn's testimony should be stopped right then and there because they were like, this doesn't have anything to do. She shouldn't be here. Maureen Comey sat up and was like, excuse me, I beg your pardon. This has everything to do with what we're talking about. See, here's the tea. Oh, also really quick, Quinja Curry, thank you for the amazing commentary you said. Thank you. And Andrea Burns, thank you for joining the Tattletale family, right? But here's the thing, right? Again, if you guys want to know what Dawn was wearing, like this mint green houndstooth suit. She looked really pretty. She looked super determined, and she 100% locked down Diddy for his coercion and force. Diddy was so busy worrying about Cassie. Baby Dawn came in with a 3-pointer and alley-oop and literally dunked on Diddy's self. There ain't no way Diddy is getting out of this one. Between the special agent that confirmed what Cassie said and Dawn, Diddy, you look like the manipulator, liar, narcissist. Anyway, Danya B said, appreciate your hard work, T said. Thank you for all that you do. Please stay safe and take care of yourself. Y'all, I will definitely do that. And S. Rastafari said, does Diddy know who you are? Is that why he looked at you like that? I actually don't know if Diddy knows who I am. He could have just been giving a random girl with fluffy hair a meme mug. I mean, at the end of the day, we see from Cassie and Dawn's testimony, and we're only on week 1 in an 8-week trial, Diddy don't need no motivation. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, right? So the government was like, no. What Dawn has to say is 100% relevant. The threatening reflects the evidence of Diddy's guilt. And the defense was like, what are you talking about? No. And they're like, no, but it does. And listen to what the prosecution said. They had a little showdown at the end of court. The judge let the jury go 10 minutes early, but they had a little showdown. They said Diddy's threat of telling Dawn and Kalina that where he's from, people go missing. His threats reflects a consciousness that what he did was bad. And it reflects that he was conscious that he was guilty. It goes to his mens rea, his state of mind, right? Because Diddy's trying to say that I didn't know I was high all the time. I didn't know. I just Hulk mad, smash Cassie. And he's trying to say that he didn't know what he was doing, so he shouldn't be held accountable. But the prosecution is like, no, we're not letting him off. The fact that when you do stuff, you threaten people to keep their mouth shut. You tell them you'll give them stuff. And then you try to explain that that's what love looks like. It shows that your guilt. It shows your mens rea that goes specifically to count 2, which is coercion and force. Why is that? Because if you don't know what you're doing is wrong, it's like those people in the Twilight Zone that they're like, and stab someone, and then they come walking into a room with like a bloody shirt and a knife, like, hi, would you guys like some ice cream? Yes, you're sort of about to be crazy because you don't even know what planet you're on, and you don't even know that what you did was super, super, super bad. You can maybe say that you are not in your right mind, but if you come walking out the room and you try to hide the knife, do this and that, it shows that you know what you did. You had consciousness. You had the mens rea to commit the crime, and these people are saying that they didn't have the capacity, the mental capacity to know.
And then he threatens them.
Wrong. right? Again, they said you called the meeting, you locked the door, you gave threats, you gave flowers, you said you'd help them with their career. It also shows the entirety of what Cassie was saying. That when you show these text messages of Cassie being, oh baby, I'd love to have a freak off, but not tonight. Oh baby, I'd love that. Cassie was placating him because Cassie, it shows that a culture of fear and violence that was always prevalent in the back of Cassie's mind. So Cassie was also very, very mindful of what she said to him, and she never wanted to do anything to anger him, because even when she was just making him breakfast like he asked, he would use those opportunities to literally bash her in the head and do what else. Y'all, I got more. Hold on. We got more notes we got to talk about. But Don did the damn thing. He did the damn thing. Arlene Starr said, I wonder what he would do if someone treated his daughters the way he treated the women in his life. I wonder what he would do if someone treated his daughters the way... Yeah, listen. Here's one thing I think is sad. And I don't care what nobody says. Shayna Curry, thank you so much for being a member of the Tattle Souls family. I don't care what anybody says. You cannot go from being someone that just when you feel like it gets up and somebody up. You can't go from being that to being a loving father. Because Cassie did say that her and Diddy had some good times, but he would just flip like that, right? Maybe Diddy did show up as a loving father. But what about when the kids got teenagers and they started talking back? Or they weren't doing what they said, or they was in his mouth just yapping, or they were yelling, they hate you. What happens when those kids did something that Diddy didn't like, or something that offended his anger?
What happened to Addl?
He was calm, cool, and collective and patient with them, but an absolute certifiable maniac with Cassie? No, I think not. I think not, but that's just my own feeling. Rosie I said, Yana t-shirt. Oh, you want a t-shirt? Great content, funny, and excellent memory, relatable. Thank you, woman. We family now. I know we are. May good prevail over evil in this case. Good is 100% prevailing. Good is 100% prevailing. But the prosecutor's like, no, Your Honor, we're creating a culture. Mind you, this is day 5, and I'm telling y'all now, and this is my opinion, the prosecutors have Diddy dead to rights. And I know the blogs are running with Cassie was a hoe, Cassie might have been cheated. That don't make any difference when you look at the evidence and what needs to be presented.
He molded her into that. He groomed her into that.
Dawn witnessed the violence, the rugs, the beating, threatened her to keep quiet. They tried to say that Dawn was forced labor, but that charge didn't stick, and that's why the defense were like, we don't want Dawn to testify because she's forced labor. But the judge was like, well, if she doesn't testify about forced labor and she testifies about seeing you beat Cassie to a pulp, right? They are, and they
what is forced labor?
Cassie to a pulp. You know,
ain't that same prostitute stuff?
It is what it is. Okay, hold on really quick. Also, James Johnson said, great rendition. Thank you. Hit the like button, y'all. Yeah. Thank y'all.
That's slavery stuff, huh?
Prophets Alley as Brew, Body of Christ said, I was stuck in abuse for years. I made excuses. I protected him. I was sitting ahead driving. I had no friends. I dropped the charges against him.
Yep.
I allowed him to tell me that he wasn't hurting me.
Forced labor is a crime where
me
individuals
to walk into my purpose and
are
calling.
compelled to work against their
actually
will through force. Okay, that's the part. That's trafficking.
Yeah. You guys, it is actually crazy. Let me go follow you. Make a note of your YouTube channel. I can't get to your channel from the live stream, but girl, I'm gonna follow you. Yeah, I get you. Jacqueline Canary Park said he had the mental capacity to be successful. Be successful, be charming, tell jokes, start a actual TV channel.
What happened to Abel?
Parties, accept awards, counsel Kanye West on what his wife should do. He had time for it all. Opinionated said, devil in disguise demands you Diddy or are you blind? Yeah, exactly. The devil in disguise commands Diddy.
Yep, he is the devil.
Listen, Mark Agnifilio was ejecting Will Milling for his life. I have some more notes, y'all. Hold on.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can.
Will Milling for his life. I have some more notes, y'all. Hold on. Also, he said Diddy. Here's another thing too. The points Diddy were making, they were trying to make it seem like Cassie was like broke on the come up, and Alex was broke Twitter. And Cassie let it be known that not only did she get 20 million from Diddy, she got 10 million from the Intercontinental Hotel for what they did with that whole thing. So Cassie ain't hurting for money at all. But on top of that, right? On top of that, one thing that I think should actually be noticed is that Diddy was digging his own hole.
Absolutely.
Because Cassie had already gotten the settlement. So they were like, she was like, she had, and she got it before she started testifying. So she was like, she had no way of being financially motivated. They were like, oh yeah. So once you got your settlement, you canceled your tour, didn't you? And Cassie was like, that's not the reason. I'm sure she canceled her tour because she was a little bit embarrassed and all her trauma was being lived out. And she didn't want
This
to be
case don't have, it has everything to do with trafficking.
I understand why she canceled her tour. It wasn't
And
the
the
right
feds.
time. I wouldn't be surprised if Cassie actually gets back into music now. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. Also, they were trying to make it seem like Cassie, just like, you know, you've been in the industry, you got connections, you got this, you know, you came up under Diddy. And then they let us know that she did collabs with Nicki Minaj. She did collabs with Nicki Minaj. She did collabs with Rick Ross. She did collabs with she did collabs with Rick Ross. She did collabs with Pusha T. She did collabs with Cassie. And to them, they're just like trying to make it seem like Cassie was just on the come up. But to me, from a legal aspect, that actually proves to me that you don't know what you're talking about. Because, just hear me out. If Cassie got all these collabs with Nicki Minaj is guaranteed to make anybody go platinum. With Pusha T, same thing. And with Rick Ross, because back then Rick Ross was in his
Where that
heyday.
music at?
And you're telling me you got a collab? Where's the album? It shows that Diddy was just playing in Cassie's face. He gave her studio time and paid for it, but he never planned to put out an album. He never really tried to let her have her career because he didn't want her to actually have her own money and have her own freedom. You see what I'm saying? I think this actually proves the point. Yashara said, may the Most High bless you, thank you, protect you, and reward you for your works, Tisa. I ask the same on behalf of Cassie and her family. Exactly. Cassie and her family actually gave a statement. It was very, very beautiful, right? Also, somebody asked if they do RICO, will they arrest everybody that helped them? The prosecution is releasing their witness list on Sunday the 5th to the judge. We'll probably find out as a public sometime early next week what the witnesses. The prosecution has been very firm to say, if you are not
you're a co-conspirator.
A witness on our behalf, you're a co-conspirator, and that's it. So whoever's not on that witness list, maybe D-Rock, because his name came up around, KK, whoever's Brendan, whoever's not whatever his name is, whoever's not on that witness list is definitely going to be charged as a co-conspirator. Because the feds has already said,
RICO.
Organization.
Pressure. You wanted to hear where RICO coming. RICO coming.
Right? So anyway, she also did her job to seduce Diddy all day and send a bunch of text messages. She wanted to make him happy. She found out through experience, she said, that if you don't make it happy, this is what happens. She said her feelings of self-doubt. Oh, you know what the weirdest thing is? You know Diddy is writing these questions and trying to get in Cassie's head. Do you know what the prosecutor said? You needed help in the industry. I'm paraphrasing. And Cassie was like, no, I had an album. They're like, yeah, you also had a 106 and Park performance. That didn't go so well, did it? You mean to tell me this prosecutor that probably don't even know what 106 and Park is? Diddy is still trying to mess with Cassie's head. Yep. She literally tried to bring up Cassie's 106 and Park performance.
Diddy, that was one of his questions.
Career without Diddy. Cassie said, that was just one of many, but it did hit a nerve with Cassie. She was like, that was one of many performances. I had several other performances that went perfectly, Katricia L said, love your organized chaos. It's like sitting in the living room and chatting with your best friend. You are awesome. Thank you so much. And Camilla Sierra said, hey, Tisa, thank you so much for your hard work covering the case. Thank you for the picture the other day. Oh, thank you. Love your breakdowns about what's going on inside the courtroom. Thank you so much, Camilla. Also, Robbie Tyler, thank you so much for the super chat. Okay, so they tried to play her and bring up her 106 performance when she was doing Just Me and You, but she had she got stage fright, Also, the shady 89 thank you so much for the super chat. Said Cassie has a song called "Take Care of Me, Baby." In this song, she says, "If you knew what I had saved, your attitude to might change. She's been saving money. She knew she was leaving him." Exactly, and I think she was looking for her exit plan. Edgar Verdi, thank you so much for gifting a super chat. Okay, also. Cassie said he was very controlling of other artists on this label. She said, well, every time she was with Diddy, feelings of self-doubt would creep in. Eunice Hernandez said, God is not like ugly. God bless everybody. Also, D-Rock, they accused Cassie of being on the come-up, right? They said that she was friends with D-Rock in April, independently of Diddy. She was friends with Mia. That's the assistant that's testifying. That was independent of Diddy. Independent KK. Let me tell y'all something, right? And I will always do this and say it down. Everybody that was friends with Diddy still worked for him. And if you are around Diddy, you are still part of that madhouse. So there ain't no friends in the industry. And everybody went and stayed where the money was, right?
Fact.
And I'm sure the only reason they stayed in touch with her is because Diddy wanted to keep tabs on, right? Cassie said her job was to seduce him all day.
Seduce him
get
all
this.
day.
They tried to play Cassie and say, y'all remember Sujit, right? I'm telling you the notes from my trial, right? I'll do little breakdown videos later, but let me just get this. Y'all remember Sujit, right? That's the guy that, like, Diddy was like, you'll stay next to him. Do you know they tried to make it seem like Cassie was like this criminal mastermind that literally, they said, and when you tried to take Sujit hostage, they said Cassie Cassandra Ventura, little Cassie, tried to grab Sujit and take him hostage over the freak off tape. Y'all, I'm telling you, whoever that young lady was in the hotel room with Diddy when he got arrested, you better get a lawyer because they're going to try to pin it on you. James Johnson, thank you so much for gifting that membership. Also, Mariner Shively said, do you think Young Miami is listed as a co-conspirator? I don't know. I would like to know if Young Miami was in that hotel room with Diddy.
Young Miami like that
Mary Finley said, good job
golden
on the coverage.
golden faucet, a golden.
Again, I find it funny that all after 11 years, they can only get a few messages of Diddy and the freak offs when there are thousands of texts. Get out of here. Her job was to seduce them. They told text saying, baby, I want to freak off so bad, but I don't want to F myself up. The fact that nobody sees that was Cassie trying to control Diddy and his anger. She knew she couldn't be like, no, I don't want it, because he would probably beat her for it. So she had to manage this man. Anyway, here's the one thing I do want to say. If everything you're saying about Cassie is true, and you helped her, and she was on the come up, and she's a liar, and she's a, all this other stuff, and a gold digger, and this and that. But one thing Diddy's team can't explain is, why did you settle for $20 million? Why did you settle for $20 million? Here's the thing, Diddy, you can't use that. Why did you settle for $20 million? It wasn't because you loved Cassie. You already said it wasn't because you're so generous. Diddy's whole kingdom came down because he didn't want to settle with Little Rod. Okay, for $50,000 or $20,000, however much it was. Diddy didn't want to pay anybody. Diddy is notoriously cheap. So ask why a notoriously cheap, stingy, proud man that would rather put your face into the ground. Tell me why he settled 24 hours later for $20 million if Cassie wasn't telling the truth about being sex trafficked. Tell me how. And again, Diddy knew all of Cassie's evidence prior to settling. He told her, go ahead and go to court. He was playing in her face. It wasn't after he heard from Tisa Tells that he was being investigated by the Special Crimes Unit in New York State, New York City, and the feds that he decided to settle with Cassie. Kaiser Sose 718 said Cassie should have stayed with Ryan Leslie. I don't know about that. Ryan Leslie created her and was her boyfriend. She cheated to be with a monster. I bet Cassie would trade all the M's to go back in time and change her mind. So here's the thing. I don't know if Ryan Leslie and Cassie, what their relationship was, but I do agree with one thing. I'm sure Cassie would change, even if she didn't end up staying with Ryan Leslie, I'm sure she would trade all that money to go back in time and just, be with Ryan, try to make her career go, and then try to make her career go, and then try, on her own. I don't know if Ryan Leslie was the answer. I'm not saying he's a bad dude. I don't know anything about him, but I am saying I do think she would trade all those millions to go back. Also, Insomnia Blue said, Tisa, I'm so proud of you. Thank you for all the updates. Been following you from day one and Snapchat. Thank you. I'm going to start going live on Snapchat too. Also, Saturday Love and Family said, great work, TT. Thank y'all so much. Also, Beverly Ann, welcome to the Tattletales family. All right, listen, there are so many videos I have to make. I'm going to do a live update in a while. Make sure y'all join me. Turn the notifications on. I'm going to do a couple quick.
Y'all ready to go, or y'all down for one more? Y'all ready to go until tomorrow? What we gonna do? Y'all ready to go till tomorrow? Talk to me quick. Golden shower. Kelly, she said she loved golden showers. Now, did she know that it was gonna eventually be in her mouth, or hell, was it in her mouth too? I don't get that. I wish you would, baby. I'm like Plies. Plies said he thought he was freaky. Why I hear myself in the other room? Howard. Baby. I thought I had a little freak in me, baby. Ha! What? Let me put this back in here. Hey, Kel. Dang, I couldn't even do my pop. I thought I had some freaking me. But baby, if all of that peeing on me, in my mouth and trying to act like it's some tea or something. Eating ookie and all of that. I ain't even into that. I guess it's a special type of fetish that they said that you like fluid. All the baby oil in the whole damn bathtub to do what? What you gonna do with it? I understand soft skin, but hell, I don't think you want it for the soft, subtle skin. I think I was about to say something, you know. I think it's about being able to slide in, you know. It's just, it is sickening. It's just no way around it. It's just no way around it. And I really do not understand why people do not understand somebody who has groomed a person from a teenager, a grown-ass man, almost 40. What you want her for? What you gonna do with her? Yeah, you're gonna make her do whatever it is that you want her to do, how you want her to do it. And it's a lot of hurtful things in this transaction. Yeah. But for her to realize that, boo, and stop saying that y'all love each other. There was a lot of love. That is not love. Why do people condition their mind to accept that being love? He beating the hell out of her. People hearing it and scared for her. And what you just heard is passion. No. Being on my neck, in my ear, you know, kissing me in different places is passion. That's my passion. Hitting me? Oh, no.
Hell, you smacked me on my ass too hard. I'm looking like, what we, are we playing? What we doing? So when I smack you on your ass while you doing some, you know, some deep stroking, don't you stop and say, hey, hey. You take that ass pop. Whoo! No, don't hit me too hard. I'm just. And it's sad. It's sad that we are conditioned to think that certain things are love. No. Yeah. And even if she was freaky, and it got too freaky for her, she has the right to say, ooh, that's, ooh, no. Hell, next thing you know, you're going to want me to, you know, play around with some animals and shit. Because see, when you play with the devil like that, you know, or you controlled by sex like that, then it would take you any and everywhere, places that you would not even think that you would go. You have made sex your God. Do I need to say that again? You done made sex your God, baby. You're doing any and everything. Only thing that can please you is sex. Weird sex. You know, ain't no making love. You know why you can't make love? Because you don't love her. Do I need to say that again? You cannot make love to that girl because you didn't love her. You fucking down shit out of her. Because that's all she was to you. And that's hard. And like I've never heard of love trauma. I didn't know that there was such a thing. I will have to research it. But I do know this. I know, baby, let me tell you something. AunTeaFee, she loved, let me tell you what God love. He loved the truth, baby. Don't tell me you love me hard. Don't tell me you love hard. What that mean? That's exactly what he did. It was his God. Now, the big G-O-D, God, all by himself, he don't need nobody's help. He finna teach him a lesson. And they done found shit in his jail cell. He gonna need it though, you know. Let him have his baby oil. I think that's what he should do, to put money on his books. Sell your little hot ass tainted oil up in there. Y'all gonna be freaks and shit anyway. Might as well make it easy on somebody. But hell, the way I'm telling you, the way you was beating the hell out of his back end. Yeah, Meek Mills, baby. Did you have all with Meek? Because that was horrible, baby. But again, it is what it is. He is going to learn the hard way who God is. Now he got a Bible. Boo, you needed that Bible, ooh, long time ago. And to think in court today, the arresting officers found all of that. He was supposed to be turning himself in the next day, wasn't he? Because they went and picked that ass up a day early, right? So he was finna get it in before he went in. I don't think he was gonna turn himself in. You let me tell it. Diddy coming home. Okay, Africa motherland. Go on in there and visit with him. Go on in there and sit down with him. Oh, she done already told us, boo, that he got his trolls he got his bots to say what he want them to say. She done already spilled the tea on that, baby. So African motherland, go and do what you do. You a troll. Yeah, you trolling. You trolling. You can say you ain't. You a troll. Okay. Well, go put money on his books. Go in there and ask for a conjugal visit. Let him rip your guts out. Since he's so innocent. Go on in there. And ask for a one-on-one conjugal visit. Since you think he's so innocent. Go on in there and have a prison freak off with him. Since he's so innocent. Go be his prison. Yeah, his prison home. Since he's so innocent. How about that, African motherland? And release a video. Let everybody see you being his prison freak off. Okay. Well, you go on in there and you have some fun with him. But until then, you don't have to say nothing else over here. You can go someplace else. Yeah. If you love him so, go on in there and be his prison freak off. And release a video. Okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and silence you since I know that you are a troll. And we don't troll over here. And I ask you to stop talking. And you can't shut up. Y'all say bye to the motherland. Y'all don't run nothing over here. I'm not Diddy-tized. He don't do nothing for me. Never have. How about that? How about that? He's a freak. He got issues. And they say he's a testosterone. Bible plays. Anyway. Y'all, I will see y'all tomorrow. Because y'all know I ain't finna entertain. I'm not finna entertain that motherland. And what does that's a black man have to do with it? He's still a pervert. He's a predator. I don't care what color he is. He's a predator. He groomed her. She was a teenager. He was a grown man. He brainwashed her. And if you don't have a problem with it, then let him, let your daughter stay with him for a whole weekend. Let your loved one, your daughter, granddaughter, baby girl, go have a weekend. Yeah, Stacy, bye. Because he tried to make Laquita come out, ain't he? I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace. Hit the like button on your way out. Like, share, and subscribe. Support the platform.